Oh, let's do the anti-anxiety playlist, because I am indeed anxious. You would. I'll allow it. What's up, Morgan? I think you're actually the first one here. I'm buying myself an excessive amount of time because my desk is literally covered in tarot decks. So I got some cleaning to do. We are back. I feel like a couple of days ago, I was on my YouTube and I was like, holy crap, it's only been like a month since I went live. I don't know why in my head it felt like it had been like an eternity. I was actually 100% convinced it'd been like at least 7 weeks. We were like barely touching a month. Oh, it feels weird. It feels weird to be back. For all 9 of you that are in here, my tarot deck that I've been working on and kind of talking about for the last few months is here. It arrived in the mail. I'm going to show you it. But I'm vibing for a second here. Getting my bearings, doing my little lollygagging. While I deal with the copious amount of, social anxiety flooding my body. And also clean up my desk. Hold on, you guys can't really see. I want to show you. I've been doing personals all week. That's what the rest of my deck looks like. And all the boxes are on the floor. They're actually like I don't want to be, what's the word? Cliche. But they're like better in person. Also, I'm so tired. Just so you know, I'm brain dead already. I'm not at my usual juice level. I can feel the burnout behind my eyes. I had to, printing has been a nightmare. Delay after delay after thing not going right after thing not going right. And the last delay, the latest one that I had to deal with was, unexpectedly, in order to actually get my shipment, it was supposed to arrive yesterday. In order to actually physically get it and take it into the house, I, for some reason, needed $43 on money order. The UPS guy showed up at our house and were like, yeah, I can't give you these. You have to pay the shipping in person right now. And my mom was home and was like, oh, is a check fine? And he was like, no, it has to be a money order made out to the printing company. And we were like, that's crazy that nobody told us that beforehand. Haven't heard a word of it. So they took them back to the post office. And he's like, I'll be back tomorrow. Just make sure you have the money order. And I was out. My mom called me. And I was like, that's cool. I'm already out. I'll grab a money order. Since I'm already here, was like $3 short for getting a money order. So I just gave up and went home, and I was like, it's fine, I get paid tomorrow, I'll just wake up and do it in the morning. And then I had personal readings, because I've not been doing my life properly lately, and I've been waiting till the last fucking second to do my personals. If you've ever gotten Cameo for me, you know that it gives me like at maximum 4 days to do a Cameo. I wait until about 30 minutes before it's about to expire. That's just the kind of shit I've been on lately. I'm not mad at myself for it. It is what it is. I can only negotiate with my ADHD so much sometimes. And that leads to just some bad situations. So last night, I swear to God, I just didn't plan properly. So I had to do a Cameo, go to sleep for 3 hours, set an alarm, wake up, do a Cameo, set an alarm for an hour and a half, wake up, do a Cameo, go back to sleep for 2 hours, set an alarm, do it. And I just did that until I could get up at 8 a.m. Went to the store to get a money order, which was terrifying because I was convinced I was going to mess it up. And then I sat in front of my front door, in view of my front door from the living room for the next 8 hours waiting for UPS to arrive. And by 8 hours, I mean that I literally BOTOS BINTED. I literally watched the entirety of Hamilton with my roommate, who's never seen Hamilton before, and that was kind of exciting. We'll get into the BOTOS BINTED. I want to clean my desk off first. I really gotta start warning you guys when I'm gonna go live. That's a thing that I really should do. I'm just not. That requires too much pre-planning. I'm just not. How am I? I'm doing better. The last time you guys saw me on live, I was doing atrocious, to be honest. I'm doing better. I don't know if I'm still good. I'm convinced I will be fine now. Convinced that I will be fine eventually. I don't know if eventually is right now. I had kind of a rough winter. I don't want to go, and nobody asked for personal details. Thank you. They're actually like really boring nude nails this time because I just didn't want to. I needed my nails done, but I didn't feel like thinking of anything, so I was just like, give me them basic bitches. I don't want to go into details, but I had the kind of winter that if I can summarize it, I have been made to be deeply surprised and disappointed at the character of somebody that I care about and know a lot, to the point where it made me question my sanity and not even really want to speak to people anymore. Does that make any sense? So that's kind of what I've been going through. Like, that's the best way I could put it, is just like, I had to come face to face with being extremely disappointed in somebody that I love. And it's kind of like a, in a way I kind of hurt my own feelings by expecting somebody to do the right thing and them not doing the right thing and then going, oh, it's okay, they'll get it. And then like, really be, you know what I mean? It's not good. It's not good. And like, there's more to it than that, but that's the root of it. Like, I feel like that's what I've been repairing. It like really like shook me up to my core. I don't like feeling that way about people. It's very not good. I'm almost done clearing off my desk, I promise. Oh, there's the top to that. I only have 4 decks left. Aw, you think I'm cool? I promise you I'm like the least cool person ever. I don't do shit, man. I have a lot of anxiety about being a good person. Very sensitive. I mostly just sit in my room and play Sims. What were we talking about? Somebody asked me how I was doing, and I was explaining that I was, like, the last time you guys saw me on live, I was actually not doing very well. I'm doing a lot better. And then was, like, vaguely explaining, in the way that I do, vaguely explaining my emotional state without giving any details, because I am also obsessed with my privacy. Just was, like, immensely disappointed in the choices some people around me made. And I think are continuing to make. I don't know. I'm not involved in it anymore, but just like really, really disappointed. That's the best. Like I want to sit here and I'm not gonna give any names or anything, but like reflectively looking back on it now in a better place, like the only thing I have to say about like the last 6 months are like, I really wish that some people that I know had made better choices. Like, to my detriment, but also to their own detriment. Like, from a really, like, I just wish you'd pick better. And I really thought you were a better person than that, and it's breaking my heart that you're not. And then the collateral damage of, like, it's the kind of collateral damage when people make bad choices for themselves, and then it also affects other people as collateral damage. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of like, bro, what are you doing? Which is annoying and gross and ugly, because I don't even like talking about people like that. I don't. I've been spending the last few months at the crossroads of, like, how much do I need to talk about something for me in order to honor myself and my feelings, and how much am I, like, dedicated to giving other people their privacy? Do you know what I mean? If you ever hear me talking shit, it's never from a place of I want to talk shit and expose somebody. It's literally just because I need to talk about my feelings. Yeah. It's whatever. Crying once a week minimum. Yeah. Yeah, I was on some cry every day bullshit for a surprisingly amount of large, like, that has just ended. I was on cry every day for, hold on, let me do 5 months. Cry every day for like 5 months. Multiple times a day. And when I say cry every day, I mean like 4-hour sections. Like, once I started crying, I would have to like be interrupted by like drastic measures, or else I would just continue to cry until I pass out. It's alright. It's not happening now, so I don't care. Do you know when you get a tattoo and it hurts, and then like it hurts a lot, and you're like, it's cool, it's gonna be done eventually, it's temporary, and then like a week after you get the tattoo, you're like, I remember that this hurt a lot, but also that has nothing to do with me anymore. That's how I am. Like, I could go, oh yeah, it was a terrible, horrible time. But then it's like, but I don't know that person anymore. Okay. You're never gonna guess what I have in my hands. Bam. I have to be careful which of these cards I show, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. We don't want to get banned again. That would just be the icing on top of the cake. Yeah, no way. So that's the surprise that's happened. I have 159, 160 counting this one. I don't think I can show that card. Hold on. Here's the one with Pos Minute. They're not, the camera genuinely isn't doing them justice. Like, I don't want to say that, but they're fucking amazing. I got matte soft touch, like, so they feel like expensive and soft. They are huge though. I'm gonna show you. Let me see. What's a standard tarot deck? What's the most popular deck that I have? Let me grab the Wild Unknown. I feel like everybody has an approximation in their head of the Wild Unknown. It's a pretty popular deck. Okay. Here's the Wild Unknown tarot. Size comparison. Let me find a card I can actually show you. Size comparison. You get a little piece of your power as well. Yeah, actually you do. That'd be the point of them. For comparison, and this made me sick to my stomach, just so you know. OGs may remember that time that I was going on my rant, because I'm very picky about decks, about how disgusting I find large decks to be, and how much I hate them. Absolutely loathe them. And somebody asked me what the biggest decks I own are. So the Oracle of the Unicorns, this one, hefty boy. Hefty boy. The biggest deck that I own is this Spirit of the Animals Oracle. Big boys. Big boys, right? My deck, hold on. It's vile. After I got them, I went upstairs. This is the Unicorn deck. Bam. This is the biggest deck that I own. You get you all at the same level. There's one card that's poking down and it's driving me insane. Yeah. Mine has rounded corners, so it looks like it's bigger in the middle. It just has rounded corners. Is that not vile? Is that not disgusting? Okay. The other thing that I've noticed is that because these are matte, and they're very like, they almost feel kind of cloth-like. When I took them out of the package after shuffling them, I did get a little bit of an ink stain on my hand here and one here. I've been shuffling them all day, so it seems like it's something that only happens when they're fresh out of the wrapping, and the wrapping in question was like 2 pieces of cardboard and then like paper wrapping over top of them, like secured with tape. It seems to go away after a second, but I will warn people about that it is going to get ink on your hands for the first few shuffles. I've had these out for like 10 hours or something like that. Not 10 hours, that's egregious. 5, and I've been shuffling them pretty much nonstop as a stim. And it stopped pretty quickly. Yeah. I'll show you how I recommend shuffling them. For any deck of cards that's too big to fit in my hand vertically, I just do them horizontally. Easy peasy. Right? Versus a smaller deck, which I would do the same thing, just hold it lengthwise, right? I use the Cameo a lot. Should I be worried about any smudging when first using them? Yes, when first using them, they're not smudging the ink of the cards. I was pretty rough with them, and I didn't notice any image smudging, but I did get this, I believe it's this black ink from these sections on the card, did get, like, on the palm of my hands from shuffling. I didn't notice any other smudging. I also have a solid black card in there. I haven't noticed anything else, and I've literally been sitting and shuffling them all day. I'm meticulous, so it's only been 1 day, but I wouldn't send them out after just 1 day. I've been putting them through the ringer. What you see me doing right now is what I've been sitting and doing all day. Oh yeah, my point was, I'm not used to being live, sorry. What was I saying? Hold on. Oh yeah, my point is that I use this deck, the RKO, pretty much every day. And this is a smoother shuffle because these are plastic cards. To be honest, they move a little bit faster. But I shuffle those all the time, and that's how I do it. For where and how much, I don't know yet. I'll tell you what, I've been asked how much. So I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. So this is a pipe dream and a wish, right? So I drew the cards, and then I went and found a printer, and now they're printed in front of me, and that is as far as I planned. I did decide I'm selling them in a pouch. Not this pouch, but a pouch. And that's my next move, is to get the pouch. When I was asked in the past, before they were printed, how much I was going to sell them for, my answer was I wanted them around $35. I wanted them around $35. We're gonna cycle back to me saying I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? So dumb stupid me has had the estimates for the deck based on the measurements and stuff, and different like I've had a price range for this for ages, just so I knew what I was looking at. Like, are we looking at like $600 or like a $60,000 project? I had all the math, the approximate size I wanted. Apparently my idiot brain in 3 years in 3 years of working on these cards never actually conceived of millimeters in the physical and what millimeter measurements look like. So I had the cards set to be this big the entire time, right? And didn't realize it. Mind you, this is how big they actually are. I had them set to this. So all the price estimates I've been doing for 3 years had them at this size. And I never actually in my head looked at the numbers that I wrote down and went, what does that look like in the physical, right? Until, I was paying for them to be printed, and they were like, look over everything one last time. And I was like, oh shit, no. That's not right. And they were like, cool. So I was going to order 500 decks at this size. They were going to be $9 per deck, like roughly, to make. And I was like, 35 is a steal. That's easy. They're $9 to make. I can sell them for 35. That's cheap and easy. So they were like, oh, you want them bigger? I was like, yeah, they need to be like double that size. And they were like, okay, so that changes all of your calculations. So I put everything back in. These boys jumped up to $30 a deck. $30. So 35 isn't happening. I'm so sorry. It's on me. I messed up. I don't know what I'm doing. We live and we learn. I learned and I lived. 35 isn't going to cut it. 35 would be me giving them away for free. 35 wouldn't even cover me. I wouldn't even be able to buy the bags and the shipping and then pay to recoup the stock that I'm selling. That would be me giving them, that would be me paying you to take them off of my hands, rather, right? 60 is closer to what we're looking at. From a core place of just like, if I want to be able to sell all of my stock and buy new ones and then also make enough money to, like, we're looking at least 60. Which I guess is the universe telling me to stop being dumb. The bright side is that if you've been along the ride with these, there's a lot of like detail put into these cards. I was really anal retentive about them. Let me see if I can find one. Actually, that was the correct card to do it. I like right in the corners if you want to be all up in my business. Lots of layer work on them. So these are bigger than I expected. I wanted them closer to hold on. Where's the deck? Not me putting away decks to take them back out. My ideal size would have been around the Spirit Animal Oracle. So around this size for a card. You know, we're close. We're close, but not quite. But I'm okay with them being big for two reasons. One, because I put a lot of work into the art. Cool, glad you can see it. The whole point of it was there to be detail on the cards. It doesn't make any sense if it's this big. Too many cards. Doesn't make any sense if it's this big and you don't know what the hell you're looking at. You can't see any of the details. The other thing is that I have had the words for these cards on a player deck. These are the same cards. It's just the words, no images. I've been using this personally for like 4 years now. And when I use this deck, I always use it as like, the way I describe it to my friend is I use these cards, these words as like titles to my reading, like the overall energy, and then everything else that I pull is like clarification, right? So it makes sense that when you're doing a spread, you have these big ass statement cards in the middle of the table and you put other cards around them. They're big energy cards, right? For someone who's asking the product in question, it's my Oracle deck that I've been working on for ages. We're just talking about it. 60 is a good price. And I promise they're really high quality cards. They feel like butter in your hands. It's not cheap plastic. I swear. One of the things I cannot stand is cheap plastic cards. Let me see if I can find an interesting card that I can actually show. There's a lot of work put into them. A lot of love, a lot of detail with the art. That one's a really good one. Indication of how much work I'll put in them. Me being extreme. Actually, this one's a really good example of why them being bigger is good. You can't really see it. This is all like text and writing. I will say, when I do art, I use words to like fill the space, but it is me just like straight up journaling. And sometimes I'm making stuff up. And sometimes I'm just venting my feelings. So like if you want to be in my black ass business and put them this close to your face and read every word, do that. I literally can't stop you. Just whatever you read is your business. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't come to me and be like, what was that about? I don't know. You've got a range from me genuinely needing to get something off my chest to me. So I've been watching Criminal Minds while drawing before and just written out the dialogue of Criminal Minds of the scene that I was watching as it was being said to me on cards before. It ranges. I don't remember. It's not my business. I have no idea. Keep it to yourself. Yeah. That was my least favorite thing when I was working on in-progress cards and sending them to my friends because they would get stages of it. I usually, I use the text more as, background. Like, the words that I write as, an art form rather than to be actually read. So, this stuff in the background is text that I, wrote and then blurred so you can't really read it. But I would send my cards, my friends, work in progress pictures of the art. And in some of those work of progress things, you could still read it because I hadn't, blended it into the art yet. And my friends would be like, what does that say? And I'd be like, stop. Don't. Because you're going to make me stop sending you shit. I'd stop zooming in. I'm trying to find another one I can show. I still have to be really careful. I definitely got banned on here before. These are 2 early cards. That work really well together, by the way. As much whining as I did about these, worrying about, my art style being inconsistent and them not looking like the same person made them, there's a surprising amount of consistency in this deck. This is one of my all-time favorite cards. I quite like the way this one looks printed. And this one's a fun card because it was made to be reversible. I have the arrows showing which way to, do it. But, hold on, let me cover that up. The text. Hold on. Yeah. It looks backwards on here anyways. But the text is readable from this direction and then readable from this direction. I have another card that is very similar. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. This one's just straight up horizontal because I can do what I want. That's not what I was talking about, but that one did print very well. Oh yeah, this one's also reversible. Text on the bottom. Different text this way. Keep the green devilish character I made. Yeah. Hold on. Devil character. Green dude has 2 cards. I think they're back here, but let me double check. I redraw a lot of them. And I was working on a tarot while I was waiting for these to print, but I'm pretty sure that I want, I think I want to make an expansion of this one. That's where I am emotionally. When I finish it, I was like, I want to start something new while I'm waiting for it to print. So I started on a tarot deck, and then, in the process of printing, I was like, I miss working on this deck. And there's 44 cards, and it's a hefty deck with 44, to be honest, but it could be bigger, it could have more, and I kind of maybe want to make more. I haven't decided yet, though. Where's my other green card? Hold on. Oh, there we are. Let me censor these real quick. See, this pisses me off because they don't really need to be censored, but I know how TikTok is. Hold on. Let me finger censor. Yeah, I have both the green guy cards here. There's nothing on them. It's Barbie doll proportions, but I've gotten in trouble for it before because this app hates me. This is probably my favorite card to date. I think this one looks the coolest printed, to be honest. That's all. That's all 44. I'm excited that I actually have one to use. Let us not forget that you guys bullied me into making it a deck. Let me just say that for anybody who's new here who didn't know, I do tarot and I used to talk way too much on live. I used to talk way too much on live and give way too much of my personal life out here. It was a treat and delight for anybody that was here, but those days are gone. Hemlock is a good boy. Hemlock is a great boy. And because for some reason we were in a space in the tarot sphere when I started out on TikTok where you guys were like mystified at the idea that tarot readers do anything except for like pull cards and meditate and like juice papaya or whatever. So I told people that I did art and play video games. There was immediate like, oh my God, you draw? And I was like, yes, I like the 3 minutes I'm recording a day is not the only thing, you know. I photosynthesize when I'm not on camera. But I showed off my art and I'd made these cards, which is the text that's on these cards, just like written on like a deck of blank cards that I got from Amazon. And I had a plan of making it into a personal deck for me. So I wanted these for my personal use with my art, and was planning on making a huge project out of it to print one deck for myself. And you guys liked it so much and were so loud about it that I got cyberbullied on a mass scale into making it a printable deck for everyone. So if anybody's new here, and I know everybody's nice, but if you don't like it, if you think it's too big, if you think it sucks, I don't care because it was never for you. It was never for you. You're going to have to put up with my attitude and me being the way that I am. I was out to make a deck that I wanted to use as someone who's really critical of decks and collects them. And I'm giving you guys the pleasure of also owning it. But it's like, if you hate it, I don't care. If you have a problem with it, it's beyond me. In the nicest way, you know what I mean? Like, I do truly hope you guys like it and you get your money's worth. It's not out yet. I have a couple more things to do. I have to get packaging for them, which is my roommate that lives with me, Marcus, my new roommate, he designs clothes. He customizes clothes for a living. My boy is handy with the sewing machine. And, you know, we like to keep stuff in the black community. Plus, now that my cards are gigantic, mondo huge, I actually can't count on buying a wholesale, like, what's the word? Card bag. Something like this. And just buying it off Amazon. I need them custom made because these are big cards. So I'm going to go fabric searching. And I already have like a loose deal with him to kind of have him custom hand make the bags. You're not getting a box. You're not getting a box. I hate boxes. As a tarot deck collector, boxes are the bane of my existence. Every deck that I use that I love has been transferred into a bag. I don't know why people want boxes. I don't see the point of having a box unless it's a collector's deck or you literally only own 3 decks in your life and you never let them leave the house. I bring my decks with me. They get transferred to bags. It's a pain in the butt. You're also not getting a book because let me read one of these. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit spicy. I'm unmasking a little bit. It's about time for me to get banned again. Your path is unique to you. If it makes sense to other people, you're being too logical. If you need a book to explain that to you, you're in the wrong place. I know there was some people where they're like, oh, here's another one. Do not do anything that you don't want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I know we have had kerfuffle in here before about people being like, are you going to make a book? I am team if you need a book for these because I went out of my way to make them simple. There are a couple cards in here that are convoluted. They're meant to be convoluted. You're supposed to be confused by them. But if do not do anything that you don't want to do, if hearing that confuses you so much that you don't know what the card means, I can't help you. I can't help you. I did actually try and write descriptions for them, but I can't type a paragraph to explain what do not do anything that you don't want to do means. Do you understand? It's like trying to paraphrase what the word wet means. What about a digital book? Again, I still have to explain simple sentences. Like if you pull a tarot card and on the tarot card it says stop what you're doing, don't do that, and you're like, I don't know what it means, I need the book. I'm not the tarot reader for you. You do not need to be buying my products. You're in the wrong place. You need to go somewhere else. Go buy the cards that say karmic and twin flame on them. That's where you need to be. We're like, you know, it's not like I'm not being mean. It's one of those, like, the product is not for you. Oh yeah. We love Marcus. If anybody's been around, I've talked about Marcus a couple of times. His clothes are, like, really sick. He posts regularly. Marcus is awesome. I grew up with Marcus. He's like my technical cousin. It's complicated. He's a very old family friend of mine that I grew up with. I've known Marcus since the day he was born. Literally, we're born like 2 months apart. And our moms were best friends growing up. And he's been out of my life for a while, but he came back and joined the family, and we're very happy to have him. Let me clean up my decks just a little bit, because I've now made a mess. But also, you know, I could make a book. I could. But I don't want to. So I'm not. That's where we are. And I very little short of, I would say, a solid 80% of the people that purchase it having the feedback that they don't understand it would move me on that. Because I just don't want to. I don't want to. Also on your end, making and, like, formatting. I know people are like, oh, I want a book. Formatting one of these and getting it printed, because it would have to be a separate printer, and then shipped to my house would easily add another 4 months to this process, easy. So it's the question of, do you want it this year, or do you want a box and a book? Because I can do it next year in a box and a book, and we can add another year to this. Or you could take it in the baggie, and you can trust your reading comprehensions and trust me that I've been using them for a year and they're very comprehensive. And we could just pack it up and go. Also, a box and a book would raise the price easily to about $120. So we can. What do we want to do? I'm at your service. I'm a Virgo, man. Very practical. And I'm very lazy. I'm so lazy. And I move slowly. Baggie, yeah. Trust me, you guys will thank me for the baggie. They are a little bit big for a baggie. I might make the next stock ever so slightly smaller. Maybe something more like that. They're really big. But you'll like them. I promise you. I wish I could get do you hear that? The quality of the paper is really nice. They're good. They're good cards. They're thick boys. It's only 44, and I made sure you got a hefty stack. Because I've been using this, and this is 44 cards as well, and it doesn't. Anyways. Okay, let me clear off my table, and we'll do a little bit of tarot. I'll use one of them in the reading if you want. Not one for big decks. It makes so much sense to your head. I took it as a necessary evil. As someone who collects a lot of decks, the one thing I have found about tarot and oracle is that I've never found a perfect deck. There's always something wrong. There's always something wrong with it. Something that I'm like, ooh, just this one little thing would have made it better. And I think the thing with this deck is that it just probably could be a little bit smaller. But nothing's perfect, and we're very anti-perfectionism here. So I took it as its fatal flaws. I had the choice between making it, like, risking it being too small or risking it being too big. And I'm glad that they're big and readable rather than too small. You get used to it really quickly. You're not listening to your live again. I'm going to try and go live more often. Your boy's been, sorry, not the 40-yard stare. Jesus, I've been suffering. Winter tried to grab me by my ankles and yank me back into a mindset I haven't been in since my prefrontal cortex developed. And I've been fighting it tooth and nail. I'm winning. And I've been winning excessively because you guys would have never known if I didn't say anything. I know that nobody would have known if I didn't go out of my way to be like, hey guys, I'm not doing well occasionally. But oh boy, your boy almost didn't make it out the hood this winter. Your boy, we went beyond grippy sock. I wrote a note this winter. I wrote a note. We crossed the boundary I've never been at before. I wrote a note and was getting mad because I couldn't think of a location. Let me stop. This is why I get banned all the time. I'm not even vague about it. I'm like, they're not going to know what I mean. They do know what I mean. Watch me get the little pop-up that's like, do you need help? Like, Do you need us to contact anybody for you? I've gotten that one before. Not even talking about my own mental health, giving other people advice. It was like, if you need to talk to a professional, call this phone number. TikTok. Rude. Glad you're here. I'm good. You don't ever have to worry about me going over the edge. My safety system is great. I get mad because my self-preservation system is great. Like, I get to a certain point. There's never a good time. I truly think it's because I'm a Virgo, and I don't want to be sloppy about it, and I start thinking of logistics. And, like, I don't want somebody to catch me, because, like, we could do this in the bathroom, but, like, in about 4 hours, somebody's going to come home, and they're going to knock on the door, and I don't want to get caught naked in the bathtub before I'm even properly gone. That's embarrassing, and I talk myself through all the scenarios. I could jump out the window. I could do that. No, it's only 2 stories. That's embarrassing if you just end up with a broken leg. Don't do that. And then I start thinking, I'm like, where do I know someplace higher than 2 stories? And then I start thinking about it and I get mad and then it pisses me off and I just go and call a friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll get halfway through Googling how many Excedrins is dangerous. And after, like, before the page is even loaded, I'm like, this is embarrassing. What if they see my search history? What if they check my phone after and they're like, this dumb bitch didn't even know how many to... No. I give myself the ick and then I'm like, I'm gonna just call my friend. Let me get a responsible adult to put eyes on me for a couple of hours. It's actually, like, I'm actually not as much of a risk as people think. I have a Virgo sun and a Leo moon. I'm a little dramatic. I'm a little bit dramatic. And the Leo moon likes to run my mental health, so I'm, like, convinced that it's my final moments, and my Virgo sign is, like, realistically, like, that's good what you have going on. I like the note. I like the plan. But, like, we're hungry. Can we have a snack first? And then I'll have the snack so I can brain power my way through the rest of what's going to happen. And then I realize nothing's wrong. I just needed a snack, you know? I eat my apple and my sippy cup of water. And I'm like, oh, that's actually what I needed. That one person not texting me back wasn't actually the end of the world. I just needed to take a poop. That's all. That's all. It's embarrassing every time. You think I would win. You think I would know by now. I don't. The last time, actually, I think the day that I wrote a note, I called my friend and they invited me to a party. Because they were on a way to a party. And they were like, do you want to come with me so I can, like, keep an eye on you? And I was like, sure, whatever. And that was fun because I ended up going, that party was like a 10-person poly couple that was at a married couple's house who was part of the poly couple, and nobody told me people were poly. Like, I had to get there and figure it out when I was being introduced to people as couples, and then they were, like, walking off with people who were not their assigned partner that I was introduced to. Anyways, I had a glass of mixed drink in my hand, observing, like, from a core spot in this party, all of the different waves of this, like, poly quadrahad. People were crying in the bathrooms. People were vetoing, and the vetoes weren't getting respected while I was sipping my juice. And at the end, like 2 weeks later, I talked to my friend, and I was like, actually, you know what? People watching the messiest people you know on New Year's Eve for, like, 8 hours was the exact thing I needed to put my mental health on straight. And they were like, oh yeah, no, I know you, so that's why I invited you to the party, because I figured it would fix you right up, was being around people whose lives are infinitely messier than yours for 8 hours. And I was like, oh, you know me so well. Yeah, it did actually help. Liquor, people watching mess. Oh, mess that doesn't involve me, I'm so good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yo, I forgot I was sad. Completely forgot I was sad after like an hour and a half. I love my best friend. Gray is so good. Gray is so good. Thoughts on Kendrick versus Drake? I've hated Drake since 2016. He's one of the celebrities we could have easily done one of my famous tangents about. Easily. For the reasons that he's in trouble for now. I don't know if anybody remembers, Drake is a known weirdo. I remember back in the day where he had that weird, gross obsession with Nicki Minaj and was always had his hands on her in public in really weird ways. not to say that she really made a scene about it, but it was like, you know, when men like walk past you and they put their hands on your hips and it's like, oops, I'm going to scooch past you. There was lots of stuff with him and Nicki Minaj, and just observing from a distance, you could tell that he did not have good boundaries or consent, just from the way that he was like always in her personal space and always on her. And then not long after, I think she got into a relationship, he transferred all of that energy to Rihanna. So I was already, Drake's weird. It was already giving incel, and then I'm old as dirt, so I was around with the Millie Bobby Brown stuff while it was happening. The Millie Bobby Brown, and that one model that he took to dinner when she was 18, that he's known since she was 15. I was there when that hit Twitter the first time. The tweets that you guys are digging up now, I saw when they were posted, and I've hated that man for years. I don't like him. I think he's weird. It gives incel. It gives incel, and it's given incel for a while. I want somebody to give Taylor Swift what he's getting. That's all I ask. I have my feuds with celebrities, and I don't, aside from these lives, I mind my business, I shut up, I nurse my grudges, and I lay in wait for everybody to catch up to the weird stuff that I've peeped 10 years ago, and it always comes and it always happens. I've just been waiting patiently. I will warn you guys, as I feel like I need to, or maybe I don't, that Kendrick is a man, so at some point of this, you are going to be disappointed in finding out something about him that he's done that is messed up, and I just want to let you know, these are men. They're men, right? So Kendrick is not the Antichrist. I mean, he's not Christ himself, you know, he's a man who's committed less crimes, who has a cooler vibe. Do you know what I mean? We got about, I'll give it a month before this becomes a game of which man is worse. And I can promise you Drake is probably worse. But it'll become that really quickly. Just you know, be braced for it. But I've had this conversation many times this year. I've been on the internet for a long time, and if there's anything that I've ever learned, all celebrities in general, all people in general, but especially men, I have never met a man who, if you dig deep enough into their past or get to know them well enough, you don't find something heinous that they've done. Right? Men are not taught to be good people, at least until they're like 25 at the bare minimum. I promise you that almost every single man that you know has done something that was non-consensual, but not in the way that like people were screaming, no, stop. Consensual in the way that it was gross and he just didn't know that counted. Every man, every time. Do not ever let a man, especially a celebrity, get you caught looking stupid because you genuinely thought they were the exception. They're not. You just haven't figured it out yet. Every day I sit on God's internet and I pray it's not Tom Hiddleston. Not today. I had the scare of my life the day that he announced that he was dating Taylor Swift. That's the worst it's been for me. It's coming. I hope it happens after I'm back on antidepressants. But I know it's going to happen because he's a man. I just hope that it's not today. Every day I wake up and I hope that it's not today. And you'll hear me say, you can say you like them, you can say you appreciate them. Do not ever, don't be on the internet saying, no, protect this man at all costs. The second you guys get on Beyonce's internet and get in some man's comment section and go protect this man at all costs, I promise you, before the decade is over, it won't age well. It's like a spell. Don't ever say it. Don't ever say it. Don't ever say it. It's asking for it. Don't ever. It puts chills down my spine whenever I see any man's comment section. A man has one thought and people go, protect him with all... Don't do it. Don't do it. It never ages well. It never ages well. It chills. You may as well just hex them. Don't do it. Kendrick probably did do something to his wife. I don't know if he put his hands on her. I suspect that we won't find proof of that. That doesn't mean he didn't do it. There's plenty of wives that are complicit in their own abuse. Give Give Drake fans 3 months. They're a little slow. Give them 3 months of digging through his tweets, and I promise they're gonna find something. It'll probably be him being low-key racist, to be honest. He's probably said something really messed up about Hispanic people as a joke. Or retweeted a couple of unsavory memes. You know? Nobody's perfect. Keep the scale in your head. Keep the scale. I won't say they won't find it. They'll find it. It'll just take them a second. It'll take them a second. They're fighting for their lives in Drake's comment section right now. I promise I'm actually going to pull a card. We'll do some. That's my opinion on it. The only other pointed thing I have to say that I haven't heard anybody say yet. You guys, okay, so Drake's last song, the one that everybody says was basically him going, nah. You guys, I don't like saying things. I don't like regurgitating the same stuff on the internet that everybody else says. If I'm gonna say something about something, I like it to be an original thought I notice hasn't made into the sphere yet. What I will say is that Drake's entire last response reads to me like his PR team was like, screw the diss. You need to put your Donald J. Trump boots on, get in front of your audience and and they need to hear you in your voice deny allegations. Do you know what I mean? It was giving very Donald Trump PR, like, I'm not even trying to convince the people who are on the other side. I'm trying to PR, like, public relations, rebuild a bridge with my own brainwashed audience that believes everything that I say. Like, they literally were like, we need to hear you, Aubrey, into the microphone. You need to say into the microphone, I don't like underage girls. You have to say it for legal reasons. Like, it's literally, people were like, it was whack. It was whack because it was not a diss. That was him on paper denying allegations, because his team, it reads like his team said, you need to mention these 6 things. We need to hear you say, like, you need to make a statement through rap the way they would make a PR statement in front of the press. You need to make a statement that these things aren't true. That's why it's not a good response, because it's not a response. It is him essentially doing a press conference and going, some things have been said about me. I've been reading tweets and I'm just going to deny the allegations one by one, so you know that I said in my voice that I didn't do those things that man said I did. That's why it's not good. That's why he brought up Millie Bobby Brown when Kendrick didn't name her, because the internet was mentioning Millie Bobby Brown and his PR team was like, you need to get on the microphone and say that you don't like that little girl. That's why it sucks. It's PR. He's doing damage control, which honestly, I don't know what's true and what isn't. I don't know what there's proof of. But that does not look good for him that he's doing PR right now. It looks guilty. I will say that. It looks really guilty. He really lost when he did that. And that's an admittance that he knows that he's losing and he has to recoup some sort of clout somewhere. Yeah. That was not him writing raps. That was him essentially denying allegations in person. I like Kendrick. I like his vibe. But I'm primed to like Kendrick because I'm a Beyonce stan. So, you know, it is what it is. And I don't like... Every time I find a cool celebrity or a celebrity that I agree with, not a week goes by before I find a picture of them chilling with Beyonce. And I'll just say that. Beyonce's not perfect. Beyonce is not perfect, but you're not going to catch her doing anything that she doesn't want you to catch her doing because she minds her business. Do you know what I mean? And I like that about her. I respect that in a celebrity, that Miss Beyonce keeps her... She may agree with Drake. For all we know, we're never going to know. She's not going to speak on it. And she doesn't speak on anything equally, so she never gets pulled into any mess. And I respect that as an earth sign. That she's like, I take care of my kids. I wear my little outfits. Don't ask me about anything. I don't know those people. The worst she'll do is unfollow somebody, and even then you're never sure if she's unfollowing them because she's mad at them or if she's unfollowing them because they've generated too much drama and she doesn't want it to reach her by proxy of, oh, but you still follow them. She's just like, oh, you're making too much noise. Get off of my Instagram. As far as, you know, we're not affiliated because that's messy and I don't deal with mess, regardless of whether or not she agrees with the mess. And I like that. I respect that about her. Allegations of her unaliving Jay-Z's mistress. That's not funny. That's a very murder's bad. I don't like Jay-Z either. I'm really not a fan of questionable age gaps. I'm not. It's one of those just like inarguable things. Like, and I don't like talking about that because whenever I say that, because you guys view me as a moral compass for some reason, somebody gets in my chat and is like, well, what about, you know, I'm 22 and my husband's 30. Don't ask, because you're going to get your feelings hurt. Don't ask me about no age gap. Assume the answer is ill, disgusting, gross. One of you needs to be in jail. Stay away from me. Don't ever put yourself in that position with me, because if you have to ask, if you're sitting there thinking, is this a questionable age gap? I probably think it is, and I don't want anything to do with either of you. It's just one of those things for me. I'm very big on unfair power dynamics. I'm good today. I've been deep cleaning, so I'm good. I'm squeaky clean. And so is my room. I cleaned out my closet recently and deep cleaned my room. I'm making a little sun catcher for my room, and I think I'm going to start smearing paint on the walls. I'm at the point of healing from trauma where I'm picking up side quests. Not in a healthy way, you know, not in like I've already like processed the feelings. You've already done the grieving. It's been months of grieving, months of processing, months of like meditating and stuff. And now I'm like, I think I just need to find something else to do. You know, at this point, I think I've processed everything that can be processed. I think I need to like pick up knitting or something. Oh, ew. Okay. I love my own deck. You want to know what card just came out? I'll read it to you. Bam. The red flags are just the tip of the iceberg. Now isn't the time of act. Observe what's around you to see the full picture. Wow, that was very on brand for what we were talking about. The red flags are just the tip of the iceberg. I'll grab a second one. Is the anger coming out? No. No. I don't have anger, really. We talked about this a little bit. My main feeling is disappointment. Like, I'm that cartoon dad who's like, I'm not angry at you, son. I just wish you'd made better choices. Like, that's where I am with all of it. I think the anger came first for me, but it was from a place of self-love. Oh yeah, I can give you tips for the grieving process. It was from a place of self-love. Let me finish my thought of like, I try very hard to be a good person. Like, it's annoying. I'm one of those people that, like, wakes up every day and stresses about whether I've done my part. And I know that, like, I'm not perfect, but, like, I like to think that it counts that I've never hurt anybody on purpose, and done my best to, like, not do that. I'm sure I've hurt people, but it's always been, like, I can't avoid it, and if I could avoid it, I would. So the stuff that happened to me was very much in the category of I don't deserve this, so I was definitely on a vengeance kick for a while. From self-love of, like, I know I didn't deserve this, but my body was processing that in, like, I want to say maybe a little bit of rage, but it was, like, I want, like, give me the revenge. Like, I wanted the scales to be balanced out of, like, an immediate reaction of, I didn't deserve this, I'm a good person, and then it was, like, I became obsessed for a couple of weeks over, I want to see the people that caused me to feel this way. I want to see these I want to see my justice immediately. But it wasn't like I want other people to suffer. It was like I know this isn't right, and I felt kind of alone in feeling like I had been wronged. I don't like this is really weird to talk about vaguely, and I'm going to keep talking about it vaguely. I get into a lot of complicated situations because I'm a very deeply psychological person. So a lot of the times where I get my feelings hurt, or I'm being mistreated, we're in the realm of like sophisticated socialization. A good example I could give is, like, imagine, like, my mom, keeps coming into my room without asking, right? And that's what I feel upset about. Like, I feel like I'm being disrespected culturally, I tend to get in positions where most people would be like, well, that's your mother. She gave birth to you. She's seen you in all your forms and all your body shapes. She cleaned your diapers. If there's nothing you own or you have that she hasn't seen, might as well she pays the rent in your room. She can come in there if you want to. So I'm always in these spaces where I feel like once I get upset about something, I'm always in this bubble where most of common culture agrees with the person who did me wrong or can justify why what they did was actually okay. And me and like 4 people I know are on the side of like, no, that's messed up. If you look at all of the context beyond like what society says, it's messed up. So I often feel when I've been wrong that I'm in a bubble and I can't even talk to people about what's upsetting me because I just get thrown platitudes of like, well, what did you expect? Da da da. What did you expect? And I'm like, well, it's not what was. You know what I mean? It's so then, and I've been living long enough to know that when this stuff happens to me, because it's like my life's work to like be invested in sociology and human behavior, right? I tend to be ahead of the curve. So I know that I'm right. I'm hurting and I'm often left to hurt by myself. And then maybe 5 or 6 years after I've already processed what I went through alone, the culture catches up and people start realizing, oh shoot, that stuff is actually really bad. There's nuance here and some of y'all are assholes. But again, I'm never given the I told you so. I don't ever get my I told you so moment. It's one of those things. Tips for grieving. The best tip I'm going to give you for grieving is not to do it perfectly, right? So grieving is an ugly, messy process. Again, we're in the topic of you can Google how to grieve properly. A lot of the stuff is going to tell you the same things. This isn't necessarily like a guide. I'm going to give you advice that I had to find out the hard way because it's not anywhere. The best advice, if I could go back in time and tell myself something, I would say that you're gonna be disappointed in the way that you handle things while you're grieving. You're gonna be disappointed. Every bit of progress that you make, where you get back on your feet, where you put away a bad coping mechanism, where you stop doing that thing that was adding to your pain, is gonna feel like once you stop doing it, it's gonna feel like it was obvious that I should have stopped doing that. Why was I doing it for so long? I need you to understand that grieving is like your entire brain is on fire. You are not able to process. It's literally like a burning building inside of your head. You're putting out fires left and right, and you're not going to do it perfectly. You're not going to do it perfectly. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be moving too slow. You're going to realize things way too slowly. You're going to over emote. You're going to be inappropriate with the way that you are with people, inappropriately crying, inappropriate clinginess, overstaying your welcome, talking too much. And that's all part of the grieving process, right? The whole point is that your brain is not able to function the way that it would be if you weren't grieving. You're going to be annoying to the people that you care about. You're going to annoy yourself. You're going to be frustrated with yourself. You're going to be doing too much and not enough. You're not going to be taking care of yourself properly. All of that, right? You need to give yourself grace, and anybody around you who is worth an inch of shit will give you grace as well. If you end up in a situation where you're grieving and it's obvious that you're grieving and you're in pain and people are not giving you that grace, not giving you that time, not giving you the space to be messy, to be too loud, to be uncomfortable to be around, and they're mocking you for it, making you feel uncomfortable for it, not being there for you, they don't need to be in your life. Annoyingly enough, every time in my life I have grieved, it has always coincided with me cutting people out of my life. I learned how to love myself a little bit more, but it's always coincides with me cutting people out of my life, because when I am not able to function the way that I normally do, when I need grace and support, you find out really quickly who fucking hates you behind your back. Who is only around for you as long as you're whatever idealized version of you that you want and doesn't want to actually give you the space to be a human being. And it's worse for me because I'm a tarot reader, so my job is to give other people advice. I don't get a lot of grace when I need my own advice. I don't get a lot of grace when I'm confused, when I'm lost, when I don't have the answers, because my job is to have the answers for other people. So a lot of the time I find people feel fundamentally betrayed by me when they come to me crying, when they come to me with their issues, and I always have the answer, and then I'm the person that doesn't. I don't know. I have no idea. They feel like it's a betrayal, because when I'm in a good place, I can give you all the words of like, this is what you need to do. This is your next step forward. Don't worry about it. I'm going to pick you up and lift you up. That's my job. And then when I'm going through something, when I'm grieving, sorry, not the best song to do that to. When I'm grieving and people repeat back to me the things that I say to them and it doesn't work because I'm not who I usually am, I don't want to hear it. They feel like I'm betraying. They feel like I'm a hypocrite. It's like, well, when I'm sad, you tell me this, and now I'm telling you when you're sad, it's not clicking because I'm not. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're not gonna be able. And the recent grieving that I had was the most fascinating process I've ever had, because it felt like grieving while being on the wall. The last few months, it felt like watching myself as a fly on the wall inside of my own head, knowing how this process goes because I walk other people through it, and knowing how to walk, knowing all the steps of this process does not make any of it move faster. It does not make it easier. It makes me frustrated because there was actually a live where I was sitting here and I was saying that, like, I can't wait for this phase of my life to be over. There was a live like 2 lives ago where I was sitting here and I was like, I wake up every day waiting for the day to end. I cannot wait for the next 24 hours to be over. I just want to get it to the part of my life where I don't feel like this anymore. And I followed that thought and it's making me want to cry because I know what it means when people say that. And I know it's not a good headspace to be in. I know that that's not a healthy way to live, that you shouldn't be living for the next goalpost, expecting the future to be better, so that when you get to the future, it doesn't meet your expectations. You were banking everything on, like, when this one thing happens for me, then I'll be happy. You don't spend any time in the present. You get to that benchmark. It's not the thing that fixes your life. And then you just move the benchmark and it becomes, well, next month I'll be happy. When I get that promotion, I'll be happy. I was like, I know that that's not a healthy way to live. I know that that's not functional. I know that that's not true, and I shouldn't believe that because I've lived this before, and I know that I've healed that before, and I know it's not a healthy way to live, and I'm frustrated because right now, knowing that is not stopping me from being that right now. Instead, I'm sitting on the wall watching myself, knowing the answers, trying to hand myself a cheat sheet, and realizing that my brain cannot handle the answers I'm trying to give it. So you got to have grace. And you have to understand that I could write you down the answer to all of your problems. If you are grieving, you cannot compute it. You have to wait for your brain, your body, and your emotions to get to a point where it can digest the next step. It is an ugly and gross process, and nobody can speed run you through it. Somebody can tell you the truth or what you need to hear, and if you're not at the point where your brain is ready to hear it, it will not accept the information. And there's literally fuck all you can do about that. The only thing that knowing the steps did for me is give me some hope that I was going to survive it, which then led to the conclusion of, like, I can't wait to get to the future because I know that I've done this before and I know that I get out of this. I know that eventually I won't feel like this. Whatever I'm crying about right now will be something that is just like every other thing I've grieved, where I don't even think about it anymore. But we're in the spot where I can't even go 2 seconds without thinking of it. And the only thing that knowledge is doing for me is making me not want to, like, unalive myself because I know that I'll get through it. In like 2 years, I won't care. Ugh. Hold on. I don't know what that was. It said I was inactive during my live. And it made me redo a verification. Okay. That's the best. There is no advice for grief. That's the advice that I will give you. There's no advice. It sucks. And you're going to spend the entire time being like, this sucks. Why does it suck? You're not doing anything wrong. You're not grieving wrong. It literally just sucks. And it sucks until it doesn't suck anymore. The benchmark I can give you, the tether I can hold you to, is that I've never met anything that somebody grieves that they can't get over. And it's annoying to be like, all things fade with time, but that is really what it is. You gotta do whatever the heck you need to do to make it through the next 24 hours, and the 24 hours after that, and the 24 hours after that. Make sure you get to the end of the day, and you sleep, and you wake up in the morning, and if you do that enough times, you'll start smiling again. You'll be okay. There's no cleaner process than that. Some days you're gonna take a couple steps backwards, some days you'll be fine. You will get there. You will get there. As long as you want to. Do you know what I mean? That the deck you designed? Yes. Well, that's a card that's going to get me banned. I got to be careful. Be able to tolerate grief in order to do that, you have to be exposed to it. Yeah. The other bit of advice that I will say, and it's ugly, you can betray yourself by not owning how much something hurts you. So the stuff that I went through, I felt like I was at a crossroads where I had a choice between... Very surreal. I'm being vague again. Something happened to me. And the second it happened, I felt like I had two paths in front of me. And one path was, and I was aware of it. I was like, you could shut the door immediately. You could go, screw this, screw everybody involved, throw some middle fingers up, throw some deuces, and move on with your life and go, you know what? Who cared about you anyways, right? I can do that, and I'll walk away from it fine. I will literally wake up the next morning and go, they sucked anyways. Screw them. Never cared about them. Never cared about the situation. Whatever. I deserve better, and move on with my day. One path. The other path was to go, that hurt. And it did matter to me. And I am upset. And it was important to me. And I sat at that crossroads. And I had to choose. And I chose to honor that it hurt. And I think I probably could have skipped past the next 6 months. But it would have involved gaslighting for me, because the stuff that happened to me was important. In my head, I'll let you know, in my head when it happened, you know how people say grief changes you, trauma changes you? I was sitting at that crossroads between like, this doesn't matter. You can get over it immediately, and you can go the long way around, and this is going to hurt. But you're going to have to admit that it hurts. And I kept thinking in a panic, I like myself. I did a lot of work on myself to like the person that I am. Years of work to be happy with myself and like myself. And I kept thinking in my head, I know that trauma changes who you are. And I was mad. We talked about the anger and the wanting revenge. I remember I had it written down somewhere. I was like writing like a crazy person. I remember being like, I'm not going to let this person, this situation take me away from me. And I felt like, again, I have to be vague about this. I felt like I felt like it was important to me. And I had the moment where I could have chosen, this actually isn't important, which would have technically invalidated a lot of my pain. It would have made, to be vague, it would have made the other person correct. Part of what hurt me was that somebody was trying to say that I wasn't important, this wasn't important, and it was. I could have just gone along with their answer, and I probably would have walked away, but it would have fundamentally changed something about me. It would have fundamentally changed my values as a person to look at what was happening and go, this doesn't matter, it never mattered. So I went the long way around, because I remember just like an animal thinking, I want to be the same person after this that I was before. Like, I was so mad, and I was like, you're not going to change me. This isn't going to change me. I'm going to get whoever I was before this back. So I did it the hard way, and I will say that that's the price you pay. I feel like all grief gives you to, if somebody that you care about dies, you can go, that was somebody that was really important to me, and this hurts, and you can walk the long way, or you can meet that pain face on, and it could be your childhood friend, the person you were dating, the love of your life, a classmate. You can go, you know what? Now that they're dead, I'm thinking about it. They weren't really that close to me, and that's the cheat sheet to getting out of having to have emotions. You can literally do that. It's a conscious choice you can make, but know that if you were somebody that viewed that person as your best friend, and your reaction to them dying is to skip over the pain by going, well, I just decided that we weren't actually that close. You are a different person now. You have chosen a different thought path than the one you were on before, and the grief will not hurt you the same way. It will change you. So do you want to be changed or not? I wanted who I was back. So I went the long way, and it hurt. I was on a minute to minute basis. Like, I have spent weeks of my life now counting down the minutes, obsessively checking my phone clock to see how much time has passed in the day, in the hopes that it's time for me to go to bed now, and I can wake up tomorrow and hope that I feel a little bit better tomorrow. That's the kind of, like, it's not something I would wish on anyone. But I'm getting all my puzzle pieces back. I'll tell you that. I'm getting all my puzzle pieces back. I can feel them when they click back into place. Faster than I thought too, because I've done this before. I've done it before, so there's a little bit of an advantage to doing it before. I can feel my puzzle pieces clicking back into place. I wake up on certain days, and I like have certain thought patterns return to me, and I'm like, oh, there she is. Oh my God. Thank you. Ha! Where have you been? Where have you been? I was waiting for you to come back. Thank you. I didn't lose that. And it's a gift. Annoyingly, the price you pay for grief is a gift that I get my pieces back, and it makes it worthwhile. Yeah, it'll be uploaded on YouTube. I want to say tomorrow, probably the day after, because I always forget. What's the last time you went on a little getaway or vacation? It's been a while. Again, being vague, because of what's happening, I don't think a getaway will help me. I think it'll actually be a trigger. And I really don't have anywhere to go, to be honest. I think the closest I've come is staying at my best friend's house. Venmo for emotions. Hey, I never say no to money, but you don't need to. I'm good. We've had the Cameos going for a while, so I'm not in the financially destitute place that I was in a year. I'm proud to say that I wake up in the morning and I have exactly enough money to pay for my meal. It's been a long few months since I've woken up and go, I don't know where my money for food is coming from today. Look, we're blessed and honored and highly favored. I'm basically rich now. You have no idea. And most days, I don't even have to think about how much money I have to eat what I want to eat. I got like $70 at my disposal every day, and I'm like, you know what? If I want sushi, we're having sushi today. It's a choice of whether I want to be responsible or not. But it's up to me. I end the day with $0. I end the day with $0, but I can get through the whole day and do everything that I wanted to do with my money. I just have more of it if I wasn't so irresponsible. After 2 loved ones passed back to back, my condolences. Weirdly, it's been a while. The last forays I've had with death grief, I tend to handle really well. I have a hard time with rejection. Maybe that's the word for it, or losing. Okay, I don't want to like sound insensitive. An apology. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. When it comes to death, because of my specific traumas, when it comes to death, I feel like I can sit in the cozy place of, I love this person, and if they could be with me still, they would, but they're not here anymore. It's out of their hands. I struggle way worse when I want somebody in my life and they don't want to be in mine, and I know that they could pick up the phone and call me, that they could like come over and see me, that they could patch this up. They just don't want to because I'm not that important to them. That shit has me yanking on the bars of my enclosure, and not in a good way, in like the like my knuckles are bloody and I'm losing my mind kind of way. I blame my Leo moon and my Virgo sun. Everything's about me and I'm the center of the universe, mixed with the Virgo sun of like control issues, and if it can be fixed, I'm gonna try and fix it. I have a very hard time leaving people alone. If I care about you, if I care about you, I genuinely don't think there's a problem we can work through. There's no problem in the world that we can't work through. You come to me, I feel like we need to communicate more. Ain't no problem. You need to move closer. Ain't no problem. That's the way that I am. So when people are like, oh yeah, I don't want to work on this anymore, I'm like, okay, well, we can work on you not wanting to work on it. You know, I actually have if you look over here, I have a 10-step course that I spent all night writing about how you can improve the desire within you to want to work on this with me. So you can see right here that if you could just stay and continue being my friend, I can actually teach you to want to be my friend. If you would just like, be like, that's not, you know, they're gonna be like, I hate you. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Let me teach you to not hate you. And make no mistake, I'm a tarot reader. I'm not delusional. I could teach you to not hate me. It's not a question of whether or not we can fix it. I can fix it. My issue is that other people won't let me hop into their body like a body snatcher and decide what's best for them. Oh, you don't want to be happy. All right, okay. And then my eyes start switching. You don't want somebody that's going to care about you? So I'm me, and I do all the stuff that I do, and I've blessed your life up in every imaginable way, and you just don't want that. You want to be worse? Okay, I'll leave you to it. That's fine. You know, free will. I start tweaking. It's not funny. I start tweaking, and then when the tweaking's done, I start crying and literally vomiting. It's so bad. And then what's worse? I've lived a relatively long and very observant autistic life. So then they're like, you know what? Screw you. I don't need you. Whatever, right? I don't need you. And I'm sitting here. Do you know the amount of times that I have told people when they meet me, they're like, I want you in my life. And I'm like, everybody says that. You'll learn. And they're like, no, you seem really cool, right? I'll even tell them stories about other people who've said that to me. And then they just wake up one day and decide they don't want to know me anymore, seemingly without warning. And they're like, I would never do that to you. And so I'm like, okay, cool, let's ride the fucking cyclone. I get about maybe 8 months of them being obsessed with me, and then one day, I get the phone call, you know what? This just isn't what I thought it was. And I know that we talked extensively about how I was going to do this, and I said I wasn't going to do this. I'm going to do it. And if I was to pull out a revolver, I would be a bad person, right? But we don't do that. We're chill, right? And at this point in my life, I'm like, okay, so I already, again, being a Virgo, I'm like, I already accounted for you doing this. So if you'll see right here on the chart that I wrote, I actually have an itemized list of the last 20 people who have lived my life and left my life the way you're about to. And if you look right here, we see January 2012. I never want to see you again. You're a bad person. Bunch of crap you made up. January 2010. By January 2012, that same person was texting me, how are you doing? I don't know why I ever kicked you out of my life. You were right about everything. By January 2012, I didn't care anymore. Blocked the phone number. If you look right here, Jason said that I was a psychopathic witch, and anybody that wanted to know me shouldn't, and I was a curse on everybody that I love. 8 months later, you up? Why did we ever stop talking? I didn't answer that either. So if you look here on the flow chart, I'm going to show you the last 10 years of people who are about to do exactly what you're about to do. And I'm telling you that you're going to regret this. You're going to realize you're being a little bit crazy right now, and you're going to wish that you hadn't done this. And if you look on the time chart, by the time you come to that conclusion, I'm going to wish that you had died. So do you want to interrupt the pattern? Are we going to continue? And okay, so since you've decided you want to continue the pattern, can I have your consent and signature right here that you will not do me bodily harm, or hold it against me when exactly what I said would happen happens, and in 3 years you decide that I was actually the best thing that ever happened to you, and you're sorry, and I don't answer. You agree that you consent, that you understand that's going to happen, and you don't care, right? You want to play the game? What do we do? Actually, that's actually the biggest question in my life, that I could actually create a flow chart. I could create a flow chart and show you the dates. Like that, I'm not even joking. I've changed some names and some dates, but that's the gist. So now I'm sitting here and I'm like, is there a way out of this pattern? Like, that's my big question. Like, beyond the grief, I'm like, people are like, you have to understand the pattern to interrupt it. And I'm like, and being a Virgo, I'm like, on attempt number 35, I repeated all of the variables in the last experiment, but I changed these 4 things in the hopes that it would create a different outcome. Did not create a different outcome. On subject number 27, I took a completely different path. And we did this, and this, instead of that. And the result was the same. So now I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my tarot deck and I'm like, hey, universe, I'm running out of, I don't have any other ways to run the experiment. I can't think of a single other thing to do that I haven't already done, and it plays out the same. Do you just not want me to know people? Do you want me to be in my house by myself? What are we doing? I don't know. I run the equations every 2 years like clockwork, and it plays out the same. It's getting bad. Actually, some of the ways people have cut me out of their life, I swear, as it was happening, I could have, repeated the words out loud as they were saying them to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not just you, it's me. Oh, you didn't do anything. And when that doesn't get a reaction, you're just like your mother and everybody hates you. Yeah, that's what the last one said. That's so crazy. I knew you were going to say that. I never want to see you again. I got it again. It's insane. It's insane. It's spooky. And then they get mad. Because they're like, everybody that hates you was right about you. I used to defend you and they're all right about you. And I'm like, yep. Subject number 23, 87, and 54 all said that too. I'm going to add your name to the list. And then they're like, well, you're not crying. And I'm like, what is there to cry about? What is there to be upset about? I knew this was going to happen the first time we started. It always happens. This is how it always ends. What else? What is there to be? You want me to cry? I'll cry later in private. I'm not a monster. But right now, I'm entertained right now. I'm mystified. We're in the Twilight Zone. If I lift my arm, are you gonna lift yours too? What's going on? Like, what is the evidence defense rule? Are you taking questions for the deck? Questions for readings? No. I've like literally only pulled one card. I'm meandering. We're yapping. Oh, nice. We're yapping. If you want to ask questions about my cards, like questions about how I made them and stuff, you can always ask those. So we have, the red flags are just tip of the iceberg. Now isn't the time to act. Observe what's around you to see the full picture. And then, the clarifier was, this means exactly what you think it means. Exactly. I get pissed at myself for making these cards. This card, this means exactly what you think it means. And there's another card that, says, hold on. It's something along the lines of, like, stop peeking, you'll ruin the book. Those two cards piss me off so badly every single time I pick them. And it makes me double mad because I wrote them. It's truly something different when you're mad at the words you're reading on a deck and you wrote them and made the conscious choice to keep them in. It's like friendly fire. Hold on, where the heck is it? Hold on. Oh, there it is. Yeah, knowing the ending ruins the book. Stop peeking. This card pops up and it makes me want to rip my head. It's the last card is this means exactly what you think it means. Exactly, which is just doubling down on this card. Okay, let me do a little explaining. This means exactly what you think it means card exactly is a card that I made to deal with anxiety, if that makes any sense. So if you pull cards already and you have an idea of what's going on or a gut instinct of like what it means, but you're pulling clarifiers, this means exactly what it means cards is to clarify that you don't need clarifiers. It's what you thought it was the first time. You're overthinking. That's the point of that card. I made a lot of these to fill gaps in what I felt like were needed in Oracle decks. For me and my reading style. It blows me, but this is actually one of my favorite cards to get because it lets me know that I was on the right track. Red flags are just the tip of the iceberg. Now isn't the time to act. Observe what's around you to see the full picture. So let's see what's around you. I'm moving at really, truly a glacial pace. I'm so sorry. My excuse is I'm sleepy. What deck? Observe what's around you. Observe what's around you. Observe what's around you. What cards do I want? Give me a second. Ooh, let's use the, where the heck is it? Oh, the Hieronymus box. Bosh. This thing. That's the one. The parasite sent me what the candy. Oh, guys, you know what I've gotten out of my really horrible winter and like kind of dubious spring? I've started eating my feelings in like a good way. Like I can't go a full 24 hours without a sweet little treat. Like I need a brownie, cake, or cookie at some point during the day, or I start legitimately and genuinely tweaking. And it's all going to my ass. So like double win. I used to be one of those people that would have like a single bite of a cookie and be like, that's so sweet. Now I'm like, ooh, snacks, candy, give it. Somebody asked something and I was not paying attention. Hold on. How many decks do I have? We stopped counting. I have well over 100. Hold on. Let's go. Butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high. Hold on. Let me flip the camera around. Make this easier. That's my main collection. Mind you, this is where you just were, right? So I've moved you from there. I have my rejects over there. They're the farthest away from me, so any deck that I don't particularly like or care about goes over there. And then I have small ones here, shoved into here. There's a whole bunch of baggies, and then some like loose ones that don't have packaging over there. These are actually rejected cards from my Oracle deck. They're the ones that I chose to not put words on. What do you look for in a deck? At this point, I really like nice art. If I like the art, I'll buy it regardless. But besides art, I look for decks that fill gaps that I don't currently have in my arsenal. So like I have a lot of decks that have animals on them. So maybe I don't, like, go for those anymore, but, like, for example, something like okay. I have a lot of animal decks, so it's got to be a really good animal deck for me to buy another one, because I have other ones that do the job. And sometimes I just buy them because I like them. But I will buy a deck that I think is ugly, stupid, not the art style that I like, if I find the cards usable. So let's take the Oracle of the Radiant Sun as a really great example. I'm going to read you some of these cards so you understand them. So we have Affair, Optimism, Achievement, Romance, Harmony, Adaptability, Impulsiveness, Empathy, Fortune. Ooh, what was that? Risk, Exultation, Independence, Originality. So this deck has a lot of cards in it that have phrases that a lot of decks don't have. So if I was to stumble upon a card deck like this that fills in a gap where I can get a lot of use out of it, or it says a lot of other things that my other cards don't, I'm hopping on top of it. I hope that makes any sort of sense. Regardless of whether I think the deck is pretty or I like the art, if it has phrases in it that fill gaps, I see, like, getting new tarot decks is like getting access. It's like I have a dictionary of the ways that I can communicate with the universe, and the more decks that I have, the wider my lexicon of words is. And tarot decks, I understand, all have similar cards, but if I find a tarot deck with if the words are not unique, I also spend a lot of time gleaning meanings from the art. So any tarot with a distinctive art style is its own language to me, is its own standalone thing. I consider that expansion on my collection as well. So it's very hard for me to buy, like, multiple Rider-Waite tarot, to be honest, because it's giving the same thing with slight variations. But, like, for example, I'm a huge fan of the Millennial Tarot. This deck is AI, so I wouldn't advise buying it, but this is a tarot deck. I'm going to read you. It changes the names of them. So the Two of Cups is engagement photos. The Five of Cups is the ick. Wheel of Fortune is Bitcoin investment. Four of Wands is went viral. Eight of Pentacles is imposter syndrome. I actually really like this deck because I'm very bad at getting specifics. Like, I'm not the reader. If you want to know what day your child is going to be born on, I'm not the one. I'm more of a, like, psychological mental health. I can get it for you, but just know it's going to be a little bit wonky. I don't really get to choose when I get specifics. But having a deck that has something like the Ghoster, Personal Trainer, Van Life, House DJ, Lockdown allows me to get access to more variation. I can get a little bit more specific. I do like this deck because I do pull it out when people want very specific answers. This is the Millennial Tarot. I don't know where to buy this one. It was sent to me. I will let you know these cards are AI art. I didn't know them. I got these for free. And I do like this deck. I'm just very anti-AI art, and had I known ahead of time, I probably would have declined the free deck. The person claims that they were planned out with AI and then modified by an actual artist, but I mean, as an artist, I look at them and they just look like it just looks like standard AI. So if that's it, I'm not, like, putting any moral compass on you or anything like that. Do what you want. I'm giving you, like, informed consent so you can make decisions of aligned to your political thing. If I truly thought it was the worst thing ever, I would have just thrown the deck away. I wouldn't even be talking about it. It's just more of, like, I wish that it hadn't been AI. I think it's a very good deck. It's also one of my bigger decks. And sometimes, honestly, sometimes I just buy decks because I like them. I'm a simple, dumb creature. I don't have Wisdom of the Shadow or Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. I buy really random decks, man. Like, really random. It is, unfortunately, a good deck. I buy really random decks. I'll go on and on about how I like decks with unique art style, and then I'll buy some generic shit. Like, hold on. The True Heart Intuitive Tarot is what I would consider sludge. It's art. It's art, but I consider it the least inspired, most boring. It's like Christian Bible study, illustrated Bible art. But I love this deck. I love this deck. And I will say that in the same sentence. I love this deck. I don't know if I could function without it. It's one of my favorites. I have nothing nice to say about the art. I think it looks like a soulless white person who just left church 15 minutes ago drew it. And yet I use it all the time and I'll recommend it to everybody. So, like, nothing that I say makes any sense. You should take it with a huge grain of salt. Because I'll make a definitive statement like, I don't like decks. I don't like tarot decks that are simple. I like complicated art, and then you'll see me, like, standing the most simple stick figure ass deck. It's the vibe. It's the energy. I'm a very non-functional person. What do you love about it? You know what I do know? I do know that it's like one of the it's one of my, like, I'm a reach for it every time. I don't have the Affirmators tarot. I reach for it a lot. If I'm doing tarot and I need a clarifier, I'm a reach for the True Heart Intuitive Tarot. I don't know. I have no idea. No idea. Couldn't tell you. I'm struggling to even say anything nice about it, but I use it all the time and I couldn't function without it. Oh, I love the Oliver Hybrid deck. That's one of my favorites. And that is actually a simple, minimalistic deck by my standards that I shouldn't like. And it's one of my favorite. It's known as one of, like, the 5 decks I call my favorite. And it breaks my minimalism rule. Look, hold on. You see, my art. You ask what kind of cards I like. This is the kind of energy I want for my cards. This is the level of maximalism I would like to see on every tarot deck in the world. They don't make decks that I like. I had to make my own because I'm psychopathic. And I understand why they don't make my decks, the decks that I like, because I just made one and it took me 4 years. And we can talk mad crap. We can talk mad crap about the stock photos and 2 to 3 words per card, girlies. AliExpress that shit. We can talk shit, but just know that they churn those shits out. I'm on my 8th edition of my Twin Flame deck. They can have an 8th edition. I'll be 80 by the time we finish my second one. Is your deck for sale already? No. They just arrived in the mail yesterday. I have 155 of these bad boys. That's what the live is for. I have them. You don't have them. You can't have them. Yeah. I'm putting my grubby little fingers all over them. I'm touching my face with them, and you can't have them yet. Sorry. I might even lick it. You can lick yours if you had one. I'm sorry. I'm a really fundamentally annoying person. And I have a mentally ill person's... I have a mentally ill person's sense of humor, and it's come to my attention multiple times in the last month that, I think that I'm joking and people think that I'm being really mean. I've been doing this thing with my sister. Oh my god, you guys are gonna love this. I've been making this joke with my sister for the last, like, month, where whenever she does something that I think is really great or, like, cool or fun, I'm like, oh my god, it's like we're almost related or something. Like, I would be proud to call you my sister. And she gets so mad. She gets so mad. She's like, what do you mean we are sisters? And I was like, see, that's something that something that I would love to hear you say if we were actually blood related. It's been a bit that I've had going all month, and she doesn't get it. She gets really mad. We were talking about, because our household's kind of split. You got 2 light skins and 2 dark skins, and I was comparing my skin to my sister's, and I was like, we're almost the same color. I was like, it's like we're related or something. And she's like... She's like, why do you keep saying that? And then if I do it too much, she gets actually mad. I just like to lie for comedy. I think it's funny as well. The peak of humor is to say something that's not true. I also lie about her a lot. Like, in plain view, she'll walk into the room, and in plain view, where everybody can see me, she'll, like, pretend to throw something at me, and, like, everybody will be looking at us, and I'll be like, oh my god, I can't believe you literally just tried to stab me in my throat and kill me in front of all these witnesses. And then she's like, I didn't, and I'm like, oh, and now you're gaslighting me. And then I'll turn to somebody behind me and be like, she literally just tried to choke me to death, and she told me, she whispered in my ear, and nobody will even believe you. They're gonna think you're lying, and lo and behold, you all think that I'm lying. That's crazy. I'm really on my own in this household. It's like a whole, like, 2-minute bit that I do, and it pisses everybody in my house off. Occasionally, they're like, why do you pick on your sister? I'm like, I'm not picking on her. It's a joke. Like, the whole point is she obviously didn't do it. I think it's funny. I think it's funny. laugh at my own jokes too. I think it really pisses people off. It really does. It's just for me. And then I get even more tickled because I'm maniacally laughing in a room full of silent people, and that's funny. That's funny. That I'm alone, like, laughing like I'm at a comedy club and everybody else is weirded out. Then I have to laugh at how weird that is. I think it's a really good bit. It's a really good bit. My sister is easy to get, though. She's a Libra, and she's kind of a grumpy Libra. She's a grumpy Libra pothead, and so anything's an inconvenience to her, and she always is like, what's wrong with you? To which I go, I'm mentally ill. You literally know what's wrong with me. I had to go to patient first a couple of times. You literally, like, diagnose, know what's wrong with me. She hates that, too. She hates that, too. Why are you like that? I literally have mental illness. I'm literally not mentally well. You know this. The whole family knows this. Hates it. She hates it. And I say the same thing every time. And that's funny, too. Because I have the same robotic jokes to common statements that everybody in my family says. And I watch them say the trigger statement. And they know what's coming. And then they just get mad at themselves because they activated one of my catchphrases. And I'm about to make the same joke that I make every Tuesday when they say that thing. My sister she's a cosmetologist. She's a licensed hairtician, whatever you call it. So she naturally does her hair a lot. And so she'll come downstairs with a new hairstyle. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like trying to ignore me. And I'm like, oh my God, Jewel, oh my God. And she's like doing everything to avoid eye contact. I was like, you look spectacular. You look unbelievable. I've been doing it for years, and she knows it's coming, and she's powerless to stop it. It just pisses her off. It just pisses her off. And I know that. And it's really funny because, I swear I'm a serious person, and I'm a very good tarot reader. And then I tell you guys stuff, and you guys are like, why does nobody in your life listen to you? Like, I'll tell you guys the tea, and I'm like, and nobody believed me. And they're like, why don't people listen to you? You know so much. It's because when I'm off camera, I'm the most annoying, unserious person alive. I'm a broken clock that runs around like a goblin most of the time, and then like 4 times a week, I have like something important and like actually serious, good advice to give to the people that I care about, and they can't decipher the moments of wisdom as a tarot reader from me taking the piss, so nobody listens to me. You guys, just because this is my job and I'm usually normal here, it's why you don't know. And if this is your first live, welcome to it. Live and in person are the only 2 places I'm like this. And if you only watch the TikToks, I'm sorry you think that I'm like a really chill, calm, normal person. I'm not. I do like the reveal every time when I can tell that somebody is walking into my live for the first time after watching my TikToks for years, and they're like, why are we talking about which Disney animals are hotter than the rest? And I'm like, oh, hello, yeah. We'll get to the reading. But right now, is the fox from The Fox and the Hound, like, is he dateable? That's the hot topic. We need to get a clear vote in the chat on that before I pull a single card. The answer is correct. I'm not about to play with y'all. Todd is the most attractive animated animal in the Disney lineup, and we're not going to talk about it. He gives whatever. You guys know Don Bluth? Does anybody know the animator Don Bluth? The guy who drew Dimitri in Anastasia? That guy? And every movie he makes, he draws the same guy. Todd is the animal version of the dude that Don Bluth draws that looks like Dimitri that he draws in every single one of his movies. If Todd the Fox was a human being, he would be a ginger Dimitri. How are you gonna sleep on Kovu though? Because the thing is, I'm not impressed by Kovu. Okay, we're gonna talk about this. I'm not impressed by Kovu. You guys like the eyeliner. You like the voice. I feel you, but realistically, let's look at it. That man grew up in a broken home with high expectations. He just started being a good person like 5 minutes ago. Realistically, they ended that movie after the main conflict because the rest of his relationship with Kiara was going to be them going to therapy. Him fucking tweaking and being triggered over every little thing. His mother messed him up. That's why they end the movie. Do you realistically want to date Kovu? I know you guys saw the way his mother treated him. I need you to run your little script in your head and play every single guy that you've ever dated that was like, my father was so mean to me. My mother beat me every day. And then you were like, oh, that's fine. This is a safe place. I love you. And then he proceeded to commit crimes against you. War crimes, to the part where you feel like the only equitable way to end things between you is to break up with him and then send him an itemized receipt for your future therapy appointments and unpaid labor that you have done as his personal psychologist. That's Kovu. That's Kovu. And you guys are convinced it's going to be different because you're not critically thinking, because they put eyeliner on a lion and you ain't seen that shit before and you're dazzled by it. You're dazzled by it. You know who's cool? Todd. Todd is a himbo. He's going to forget to take the trash out every single day. And you reminded him, he's going to go, oh, Doy, I'm so sorry. He's fine. He's fine. Todd doesn't do anything. Todd doesn't do anything but try and make friends, believe in the power of friendship, and love his wife. Todd's the best one. I don't want to hear it. Kovu needs a therapist. He needs a therapist in isolation so he doesn't do collateral damage to anybody. Adult Bambi. Yes, adult Bambi with the context of the second Bambi movie. If not for the Bambi sequel, I would put him in the same box as Kovu, but even worse because he doesn't even have the bad boy persona that Kovu has with the eyeliner, so you know he's damaged. Like, when you watch the first movie, Bambi had a loving mother who doted on him, and then his mother died, and his stone-cold father was like, come with me, boy. I don't care how close they look at the end of the first Bambi. That boy had a traumatizing childhood. Now, if we rewind to the later made Bambi 2, they spent that entire movie going, okay, yeah, the dad was kind of rough in the first part, but here's an entire animated friendly movie about how in the span of a year he learned how to be a better father. And with the context of the second movie, we can then believe that his relationship with his father through his teenage years became better and they both grew and he had a loving family home where he was allowed to explore himself and like grow and not be judged and be loved organically. Yes, Bambi. But with the context of the second movie, if we're just talking about the first movie, it's Kovu times 2. But like I said, he doesn't have eyeliner, so you don't think it's coming. You think you're getting a trust fund man who's had therapy, doctors, tutors, teachers. He's the young prince. You walk into that man's life, you're married to him, you're betrothed, and you're like, oh yeah, I got it made. He's poised. He's put together. He's heroic. He's got his father's cool. His dad's hot too. And then you realize, as you've been dating this man for about 5 minutes, that he's never actually processed an emotion. He doesn't know how to do anything except for keep his PR face on. Anything happens, and he's worried about what the people are gonna think. We have to keep a facade. I know you're upset right now, but you gotta find some way to suck the tears in because people are watching. That's what Bambi 1 movie gives. Now, with the second movie, we know that he's worked through that because we see what his father is like. But if the father from the first movie raised him, it's worse. You might as well take Kovu because Kovu at least knows he has problems. Kovu will have the critical sentence of, my mother was horrible and I deserved a better childhood. He'll say that. Bambi will fight you for his own father while that man is trying to convince him that he doesn't deserve any happiness in his life. Actively, son, you've disappointed me since the day that you've been born, and I wish that you had died instead of your mother. And Bambi's like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I also, too, wish that I didn't live. That's what Bambi movie 1 gives. And you don't want any parts of that. But he is hot. I'll give you that. He's got nice legs. The horse from Spirit. The horse from Spirit is cool. And he goes through his character arc in the movie. Baymax is a solid choice. Bambi can't be helped. First movie Bambi, with no context on his father, he cannot be helped. He's going to work against you with his father. Bambi movie 1, his father will watch you trip over your own skirt and go, no, you can't date my son. And he'll go, son, you got to break up with her, and he'll just dump you. You're never winning against the father. You're never winning. He won't even think twice. You guys be dating for years. You'll meet the father. The father will look you up and down and go, you got to break up with her. She's not good for the family. And he's like, yeah, she's not good for the family. And he won't ever think about you again. He won't. Kenai is a good choice as well. The issue with Kenai is that he's going to pick his son over you every time. And I know that that's his brother. It's his son. He's going to pick that child over you every single time. I don't know what they were thinking about the plot of the sequel of Brother Bear. Most of that stuff wouldn't happen. There's no way that Kenai... Okay, So I get it. I get what they were doing. And mind you, as we're saying this, I didn't pay that much attention to Brother Bear 2. I don't feel like anybody did. I don't feel the need to defend that. If you've seen 5 minutes of it, you know why I zoned out through it. You understand, right? We end Brother Bear 1. Brother Bear 1 with Kenai choosing to stay with his brother because he realized that he murdered that kid's mother, right? And you want to date Kenai, and you think that at any point of anything, he's not going to call you like every other date and be like, I'm so sorry. My little brother tripped yesterday, and so I have to go buy him ice cream right now and throw him a birthday party. You're not getting presents and flowers. He doesn't have time for you. That bear will be grown. His younger brother, what is the boy's name? I know it. Coda will be grown and gone to college, and he will be baking cookies to bring to his brother in college instead of preparing for your birthday. Because he killed that boy's mother. You're always going to be the second most important person in Kenai's life. Just know that. You're not beating I made you an orphan guilt. And yes, it's sweet. It's sweet from the outside that he cares so much about a child. Oh my God, he's a young father. Realistically, you're never beating that guilt. It's cute from the outside until you realize that you're the secondary person in your relationship. Coda will move out and have his own wife and kids, and Kenai will be begging on the door to ask if they need somebody to change their sheets. Do you need anything? Are you okay? Is everybody safe in there? Do you need me to run errands? I will run to the North Pole and back if you ask me to. Meanwhile, it's your anniversary. You're at home. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I just remembered that Coda's favorite cupcake is strawberry. And I only gave him 10 strawberry cupcakes at his last birthday. And I gave him 11 last year. So I have to bake one right now and walk it all the way to his house. But I'll be there sometime between 2 a.m. today and 4 p.m. tomorrow. I'm so sorry, babe. But you understand. It's my brother. You get it? You know? That's what you're dating. And then you'll leave. Because who wants to deal with that? Who wants to deal with that? Coda will tell him, bro, leave me alone. I have my own life. Because Kenai also needs therapy. And he's not going to get therapy because the only therapy he has in his storyline is that medicine woman. And she's not going to give him therapy. Realistically, she's going to smack him on the head and then turn him into a pelican. And send him on a different quest. What am I supposed to do? I still feel guilty. How about you spend 3 days as a salmon? And if that doesn't work, come back and I'll turn you into a moose. Don't date Kenai. What movie should you put on Disney right now in the background? Robin Hood is excellent background. Excellent background. So if you put it on a low level, in the background and just let it play, you'll instantly be transported to yourself at the tender age of 11. It's magic. I don't know how science hasn't figured it out yet. Bambi is also really good background music as well. Bambi is barely a movie. Barely a movie. It's like very close to whatever Fantasia is. We haven't done any tarot. I like to play I like to turn on Robin Hood and then play the that part, and then the Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest, oodaladi oodaladi, what a day. I let those things play, and then when both of those things are over, I turn the movie off and I go back upstairs. I literally just sit and watch the intro. I've been live for about 2 hours. I sit and watch the intro, and then I'm like, that's enough. I've had enough. Why do you always find hiss to date? Oh, let me see if I can find an answer to that. Hiss. Oh, how do I want to word this? I would diagnose you with I'm a confident, capable adult who doesn't actually need anything from my partner. I just want them. But all the men that I've dated that are also confident, assured, self-assured, and independent struggle with me for power over the relationship. You know what I mean? It ends up being two, like, dominant people who can't agree on who's the leader or who's right. So you just default to dating somebody that has no self-esteem whatsoever. So they let you do your thing. They look up to you. I know because I'm like that, and I tend to only want partners that are similar to me, that are dominant and have their own shit together, and then we end up fighting over who should be driving the car in the relationship. which usually if you date men ends with them realizing, once they realize you're the better driver, metaphorically, they just vacate, you know? They don't, because they don't want it, right? So I always meet hisses and think I should probably just date one of those, because I probably wouldn't have half the relationship issues I have, but I'm also fundamentally repulsed by them because I can't stand people that don't have a spine and can't think for themselves. But if they think for themselves too much, they start arguing with me way too much. So I can say that from experience, because I think all the time I would have an easier time dating hisses. The issue is that I would have no respect for my partner whatsoever. It would be all day, stand up. I know I'm right, but why do you listen to everything that I say? Just argue a little bit. Like, you didn't even ask any clarification questions. I love Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet, Lilo and Stitch, and Atlantis are my 3 favorite Disney movies. I love Treasure Planet. What is a hiss? Hiss is the snake from Robin Hood. He's so you have like the bad guy in Robin Hood is Prince John, I think it is, the lion with the crown that's too big, and he has this henchman, his like yes man Hiss. And Hiss's whole personality is he just sits next to him and agrees with whatever he says. And then sometimes when Hiss tries to stand up for himself, he has his moments where he's like, actually, you suck. And then he gets bonked on the head by the king. And he's like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it, Thor. If you don't know who I'm talking about from that description, I can't help you. That's all I know about him. We're doing a collective. We're barely doing anything. We're barely doing anything at all. I'm going to tell you that right now. Hold on, let me be serious. I'll read tarot. Where were we? I was looking, observe what's around you to see the full picture. The red flag's the tip of the iceberg. Now isn't the time to act. Observe what's around you to see the full picture. And then I was looking at what was around you, right? And then I was pulling cards and arranging them and doing my really asinine thing that I do, where I pick up cards and I put them away and I don't read them. Stand regards, fantastic, Mr. Fox. Okay, I'm gonna back down on everything that I just said. Mr. Fox is a horrible husband and he needs therapy. But he has the perfect mix of I could fix him, where I'm not going to shade or judge anybody. If you decide to date Mr. Fox, I'm gonna go, you know what? You can't fix him, but I see why you think that you could, and honestly, we're all gonna fall into the trap. He needs therapy, but he speaks and acts like he has an indie guitar soundtrack going in the background, and there's a sunset, and he's saying all the right things. Do you know what I mean? It's like quicksand. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that you can escape it. If you get in the sphere of a Mr. Fox, you are doomed to date him. You're doomed to date him. I would say Mr. Fox is that man where he'll tell you about all of his exes, and he's like, oh, they said this about me, they said that, and you're like, oh my god, you seem so nice, and then by the end of the relationship, you're like, your exes were right, and now I'm number 57. And I have the same complaints and the same notes, and I don't know why I thought it would be different. That's Mr. Fox. But there's no fighting it. There's no fighting it, because he says the same toxic things, but he says it while strumming a guitar, and like, interrupting his own monologues about, like, how his father is the root of all of his problems, with, like, writing in his journal and going, you know what, hold on, I had a thought and I have to process it. And you're like, oh, he's working on himself. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, the journaling is not helping. What's worse is he thinks it's helping. Do you know what I mean? He'll go, I need to take a mental health day, and he will take and you're like, oh, he knows all the words. And it's not like he's not an intentional manipulator. The issue is that he's stupid, and he doesn't know that he's stupid. In fact, he's so close to being smart that he does a really good job of convincing you that he's smart. So you think he knows what he's doing, he doesn't. And by the time you realize he doesn't, it's too late. And you're still kind of charmed by the level of stupidity. Do you know what I mean? He'll give a long speech, and it's nonsense, but the vibes of it feel inspiring. And you're like, you know what? I think he just said something really poignant, and I'm too dumb to understand it. No, it just didn't make any sense, Spooky. Don't worry. After the divorce, it'll make sense. You'll get the clarity, and you'll go, oh no, he sucked. It was just the sunlight behind him. Because he has a very strange way, supernatural ability to stand where the light hits him best. Do you know what I mean? No, I get it. Mr. Fox, if you come inside of the sphere of a Mr. Fox, you're getting wrapped into orbit and there's no saving you. But his exes were all right about him. Did my time with the Mr. Fox. He simply was who he was. Yeah. And it's still endearing. You may even walk away from Mr. Fox still loving him. You may realize he's an idiot and never break up with him. He went off on a side quest. He left for milk and he wouldn't come back. And you're thinking, that dumb motherfucker. Fuck him. I hope he calls me one day. You know what? His hair was kind of dumb. And he didn't even really know how to play ukulele. I think he might be the love of my life. All of his exes are right about him. But if I could take one of them back, if I could have a second shot, yeah, no, you're done with Mr. Fox. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. So sorry. So sorry. Do a new moon check-in. Yes. Let me, we're kind of doing one now. We're doing one now. We'll see if I can, you guys gotta stop getting me on side quests. You know I like to yap. I do like Mr. Fox a lot. But, like, you watched the movie. I know you watched the movie. His wife should have left him. That's what that movie leaves you with. You watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, you think his wife should have left him. You're watching the movie every 20 minutes, she should leave him, and then she does it, and you're like, I get it. Because she goes, don't lie to me. And he's like, I'm not. And she goes, what about the other times you lied to me? And he goes, oh yeah, in the past, those are mistakes. I'm not going to do it again. I learned my lesson. He proceeds to then lie 5 minutes later. She's like, are you lying? He's like, no. She's like, I'm pretty sure that you are lying. And when I catch you, you're in trouble. He gets caught. He was lying. He's in trouble. She goes, remember how you said you weren't going to lie to me anymore? And he goes, you know what? Your eyes look beautiful in the moonlight tonight. And you know, I thought when I saw you for the first time, she's too good for me. And you've never stopped being too good for me, but I hope you'll still be patient with me. And then she kisses him. And next week he lies. And you're like, yeah. There's no judgment. You get it. You get it. You know what I mean? You get it. I get it. I get it. I don't think she's dumb. I understand. I understand. If I had an idiot husband and every time my idiot husband got caught being an idiot, he said, you know, I would really like to be the man that you deserve, but you never look more beautiful than you do when you're pissing me off and when I'm pissing you off and something in me just likes the way you look at me with disappointment. I get off on it. Like there's just something, it reminds me of the first day we met, and I think that that's a high I'm going to be chasing for the rest of my life. So forgive me if I make a couple dumb mistakes. I'm just looking for that disappointed smile. And you forget what you were mad about? Yeah. Come on. That's a happy marriage. That's it. That's what it... I know that I don't deserve you, but I was hoping I could get a second chance. You're the moon and I'm the stars that people hope to fall among if they're so lucky, but they're reaching for you. I know it, the whole town knows it. Yeah, you should rewatch. You should rewatch. Rewatch Fantastic Mr. Fox and be impressed by how much I just bullshitted the cadence of his speech pattern off the top of my head. Okay, what's around you? We're gonna be serious. I'm gonna read cards. I need an energy drink, actually. Give me a second. And you know what? If Fantastic Mr. Fox was a human, he probably isn't even hot. He's probably the most average-looking guy ever. And he doesn't even dress well, but he's got a hole in the back of his shoe that he refuses to patch, and you find it really endearing. Maybe I have a crush on Mr. Fox. Do we all? Is that not the point of the movie? Okay. Interesting. So we have, okay, let me do a little quick read. I'll try and keep this brief. So we have the red flags. Are you tired of me reading this card yet? The red flags are just tip of the iceberg. Now isn't the time to act. Observe what's around you to see the full picture. The full picture that's around you is force, justice, strength, arguments, new ideas, teaching, and unhappiness, seeking change, discontent, right? So it looks like the red flags in question seem to be an, impossible situation is what I want to say. I want to say that you're the observer to several impossible situations. This looks like you maybe watching some people around you make choices that you know are not sustainable. If you want a reading, I do Cameo readings. If you go in my link tree, there's a link to Cameo and you can get a reading for $15. There. It's the best way to do it. I do a couple of those every day. Anyways, it's this energy of them making decisions that are not sustainable, right? The idea that they're riding a train track that does not have enough track to get to where they want to go. So there's this weird, where it says now is the time to act, observe what's around you to see the full picture. It's almost like my cards are saying, do you need to do anything? Do you need to do anything? I feel like you're sitting on top of some things. The demons that you are fighting right now are inevitable demons. Does that make any sense? It's like you telling somebody, you have a drinking problem. You have a drinking problem. You drink too much and someday you're going to get up in a situation where you realize that you don't have your drinking under control the way you think you are. And I was probably the only person you haven't pissed off enough that's going to bail you out. And you're pushing me away, right? It's like something like that, right? Just walk with me in the metaphor. That's what you said to this person. And they're like, nuh-uh, whatever, screw you, blocking you, right? And you're sitting here in the situation, the red flag is just the tip of the iceberg. Now isn't the time to act. It's kind of the energy of like, the universe is like, you hit the nail on the head. But you, even in your own wisdom, don't have an idea of how deep you hit the nail on the head. So you're sitting there with force, justice, strength, arguments, new ideas, teaching, unhappiness, seeking change, discontent. That person has a drinking problem. It is not under control. It is inevitable, metaphorically, that one day they are going to have to be faced with the fact, I don't have it under control. I don't. You're sitting on inevitability. So my deck is almost asking you why you don't need to act. Because the things that you are saying, the actions that you need to happen, because it feels like there's energy of being stuck, waiting for the world to catch up to you. I can't talk to you anymore until you realize you have a drinking problem. When you want to work on yourself, come find me. I can't do anything until you realize that I've been right this entire time. But you're sitting on top of truths that will be proven right from every angle if given enough time. So it's like they're like, do you have to do anything? It's inevitable. The path is unsustainable. If he keeps drinking the way that he's drinking, eventually he is going to realize, I don't have it under control the way I thought I did, right? So do you need to do anything at all? Observe what's around you to see the full picture. What they want you to observe is that you're sitting in a glass box. You're sitting in a glass box with somebody, a big glass arena, and they're going, I'm going to walk on the other side of the planet to get away from you. And you're sitting there, you're going, go ahead and try, knowing full well that in any direction they walk, they are eventually going to hit solid glass and realize that they are stuck in the arena with you. You can't go anywhere. Why am I arguing? Why would I argue? Why would I get mad? Why would I try and convince you that we were in a glass bubble and you can't walk that far away? Do whatever you want. Eventually you will realize we're in a solid glass room and there's only so far you can walk. Right? When it says observe what's around you, it is this the very nature of nature itself. What's around you in every angle is proof that you're right. Right? This is you being very thorough in your analysis of a situation. The element of I also double entendre. This means exactly what you think it means exactly. Also kind of doubling down on on you have no idea how close to home you hit. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things like imagine you're trying to tell somebody that person's bad news. Stop hanging out with them. They're not a good person, right? You can continue arguing with that person about whether or not that person's a good person. You can. They're not a good person. Eventually, the motherfucker's going to do something fucked up. And we can argue, well, maybe, that person has a history of being abused. They may not realize it's abusive, but you know the demon that you're dealing with, and you know how bad they get when they have to call the cops, when they have to pick themselves off the pavement, when they're in the witness protection program. They'll realize you don't have to argue about somebody being an abuser. They are an abuser. One thing they're going to do is abuse. Come on. What are you worried about, really? Are you worried? Are you stressed? Or are you impatient? Because what I'm looking at is a spread that says you already know that you're right. You know that you're right. What you are struggling with isn't what's going to happen. It's the when. When will I get justice? When will I know? When will they see? When they do. It doesn't matter. Know that they will. And find something else to do in the meantime. That's the root of the problem. It's the root of the problem. You're impatient. And you keep turning I'm impatient into, well, maybe I need to rethink everything. No, you know what you know. Whatever you're sitting on. Remember when I was giving that example earlier where I was saying I've had, it plays out the same way every time? You've done your homework. This is a pattern that you've watched play out many times. This isn't like I met this person one time and they were mean to me, so I think that they're an abuser. This is like somebody that's come in and out of your life several times, right? You know them. You've forgiven them. You gave them 4 chances, 8 chances, 10 chances, 1,000 chances. They do the same thing. Now somebody else like, oh, well, they seem really cool. And you're like, okay, well, you'll see. And now you're sitting here and you're going, well, maybe they will be nice to this person. You have an itemized list of every messed up thing this person has done to you, all the chances you gave them, and how they continue despite everything you've done to continue being a shitty person. One thing you can bet on with the statistical data to back it up, with the charted statistics, empirical evidence, the Stanford rated dissertation is that they're going to be a shitty person. It's giving walks like a duck, talks like a duck. Do you know what I mean? But it's giving every day at 6 p.m. for the last 6 years I've woken up, and the duck has been in the same place every morning for 6 years. The sun hits a certain spot, the duck is right there. I see the duck, I go back to bed, I wake up in the morning, the duck is back there. And now you're sitting here and you're like, I'm telling people about the duck. I've told people that if they come outside on this day, like I have every day for 6 years, the duck will be right there. Now you're sitting in bed going, what if the duck decides to not show up today? Why would you think that? Why would you think that? There's a word for that. It's called anxiety. It's called anxiety. And anxiety and legitimate, reasonable concerns that you need to be worried about do not belong in the same square. They're in separate circles. They do not overlap, right? So just because you're worried about something doesn't mean that it's actually like reasonable to be worried about it. You know what the hell you were talking about. You knew what you were talking about. You know what you were talking about. What are you worried for? You already know what you're doing is what I'm trying to say. I really need to be careful about because some of these cards are not user friendly. Hey, can everybody in the chat be cool? And if you see like per se like a mammary gland or something, can you like not press any buttons? Can we agree to be cool? Can we file it under my bad? Do you know what I mean? Go easy on me. I'll literally cry. I don't think any of you would snitch. I think a lot of the reports that I get are people that have been muted for the entire live. I think they sit in the chat and they're haters. And they're bitter. And they're like, wait till you mess up. Say one thing wrong and I'm pressing the button. I'm reporting anything. I think that's what it is. Sometimes I think it's people that pass by. I don't think it's you guys. I think it's the people who get muted. The shards. Oh, there's a moth. I gotta go soon. The universe removes to replace. It is safe to let go and walk away. I'm gonna clarify that. No, I don't need to clarify it. You know what I want to tell you? So we're very worried about how these situations play out, right? Very worried how they play out. Very worried what's going to happen. When I say the universe removes to replace, it's safe to let go and walk away, that creates an immediate thought in you of like, oh, well, this isn't going to be resolved. The moth doesn't mean anything specific. It's just one of my omens. And when I start seeing omens when I'm live, they'll let me know I need to get off. And if I don't get off when I start seeing omens, then I get banned. The universe is very funny. It's like a wrap it up for me. That's not always what moth means. It's what they mean in this context, especially when the one is going ham on the window right now. So when I say it's safe to let go and walk away, you're already starting a narrative in your head where you're like, oh my God, this means that whatever this person, this thing, the situation is, it's gone for good, whatever. No, let me clarify. It doesn't mean that it's gone for good. It doesn't mean that it isn't gone for good. right? It doesn't mean that it's not going to work out, that you're not going to get your justice. Your justice may be a literal apology of, I'm sorry, you were right, I was wrong. Your justice may be you moving on, knowing that you were right, knowing that you don't need to stick around to see the car crash that you left behind, to know that the cars did in fact crash, and moving on to better things where the universe pays you for the stress and worry that you went through, for the abuse, for the gaslighting that you faced over something you were literally right about, moves you into a chapter of your life where you just get blessed up for the next few years to pay for what you had to deal with other people's unhealed crap. Doesn't matter. What the card is saying is that to reach either of those pathways, if you want a situation... you drop some real tea. If you want to heal something with somebody, right, or you want to move on with your life, they have the same exact process. You cannot mend things with somebody. You cannot come back to a situation and make it better while you still are holding all the emotions of when it hurt you, right? And I know that you want me to tell you, you have to walk away so that you can fix it. You have to walk away knowing that you don't know if it'll be fixed, if you're being ushered away for something that's not meant for you, or moved on to the better version of what you just had. The same thing with the opportunity to prepare it. You don't know. You don't know. What you do know is that you don't know, you're not going to find out, and they're on the same path anyways, so it doesn't matter. And the really funny thing, because I worry about this a lot, I'm very good at detaching. We just had that conversation where I was talking about how people screw me over, and I warned them, by the time you realize that you just screwed me over, I'm not going to care about you. And I'm not going to want to hear your apology. I know myself. It happens all the time. I know that. And then I worry as I'm detaching, as I'm healing from things, I worry because I'm like, well, when they apologize, I won't care. You want to know the crazy thing? You want to know what's crazy? When you don't care, you won't care. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we worry, what if they change their mind? What if they decide that they didn't mean it, they want me back at the job, but that they actually are sorry for my whole childhood, that they want to get back together, that they actually are sorry for what they did and they want to be friends again, and I've already moved on. If you have moved on, you won't care. You won't be sitting there going, oh, drat, you just missed it by 3 days. 3 days ago, I would have said yes to this. You're going to go, and you won't be crying. If that's the way it's going to go, you are going to walk away going, oh, you know what? I'm so glad that I detached enough to realize that you're full of shit and I don't want this anymore. You almost got me. A couple months ago when I was in my feelings and the trauma was in me, I would have begged for you to call my phone. But you know what? The couple of months that it took you to realize it was an idiot, I did some processing too. And I also realized that you were an idiot and I never actually liked you. You were just cool. You just had cool friends. Now that I've processed through the trauma and the hurt feelings, I realized that we never had anything in common. I don't actually want to be your friend. I don't even know why I was upset all those months ago. Where you're not a good person, right? You won't care. So there's nothing to worry about. I understand you're going to worry anyways because you're a human being and that's going to happen, but you don't have to. You can worry and also know that it's not something to worry about. It's going to work out the way that it's going to work out. And if you get to that point and you don't care, by the time you get the justification, the proof, the I told you so moment, you don't care about it anymore, you won't care that you don't care. You won't care. It's the beauty of detachment. You can't fight it. And you also can't detach from something. There is no scenario where you detach from something and it's like, aw, howdy partner. Or where you detach from something and it's a mistake. Like you walk away from it and they call you up apologizing and you're like, oh, this isn't the way it's meant to be. So sorry, I made a mistake in getting over this. I should have held on to the feelings. It's not how that works, right? If you heal from something and the clarity you get once you're healed is that it was beneath you, that's not something that happened because you healed. You are clearly seeing what is underneath the situation, right? That isn't something that happens. You don't love somebody with all of your heart and then heal from them and realize, oh, I don't actually love them. You never loved them. You thought you did. And then when you heal all that gunk, you realize, oh yeah, that was not love. We weren't even compatible, right? It doesn't like force a different perspective. It clears away all the crap. In a lot of ways, like the in-between periods of this stuff is really, really cool because we often get enchanted by things. We often get enamored. I talk about how rejection makes me kind of crazy. And I go crazy every time I've rejected and I don't even have time. When I'm gone crazy like that, I can't even think about whether the thing that rejected me deserves me or not. I'm in like a frenzy, my eyes twitching. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't want me? I'm literally the best. What do you mean you don't want to hire me? I could outdo anybody in an interview. I don't even have space in my brain for thinking whether or not that company was even someplace I wanted to work at, whether that person even deserved me, right? Once I've worked through all of the rejection and healed all the other stuff, because there's often stuff that you like dig up when you're healing a pain that is stuff underneath of it, right? You dig up all that stuff and you're like, oh, the only reason I wanted that job in the first place. It's like when you start cleaning your room and then you start deep cleaning, like maybe you spilled something on your carpet and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna vacuum this, get this spot up, and then while you're down there vacuuming, looking at the spot, you notice the inside of your bed is dirty, and you start deep cleaning the inside of your bed, and you realize you haven't washed your sheets. So when something hurts you, you go on like a healing cleaning spree, and oftentimes we pull out other stuff that we didn't even realize we needed to heal, right? So sometimes you do all that healing and you realize that the part of you that wanted what you wanted in the first place was coming from an unhealed part of you. So then it comes back around and you're like, I don't know what I was even thinking. I'm so glad you hurt me the first time, so that I deep cleaned my brain in my room and I realized, what the hell was I doing here anyways? Right? Sometimes you deep clean and you realize, yeah, I've healed from it and it's still something that I want. That hurt. It wasn't the right time for it. Divine timing, whatever. And then you go back to it, it comes back around and you realize why it didn't work the first time, because the timing wasn't right. You're a different person now. And sometimes the things that you heal, the things you deep clean, are things that help you capitalize on an opportunity you would have ruined the first time had you had it when you wanted it, right? I don't know how else to do. I don't like talking about love that much, but like sometimes you want to be with somebody, and if you guys were dating at the time where you were dating the first time, the relationship would have never worked. You break each other's hearts, you go heal that heartbreak, you deep clean yourself, they deep clean themselves, and then the versions of you that are deep cleaned all that other stuff out is the version of you that works. More often, you realize, what the hell was I thinking anyways? The only reason that I was even entertaining this is because I had daddy issues, and oh, those are gone now. But sometimes that is what it is. It can only, and either way it happens is the way it's meant to happen. You know what I mean? If you've healed and you're healing, then you're only ever getting the glasses over your eyes clean so you can see the situation clearly, for the better or for the worse. Do you know what I mean? So there's nothing actually to worry about. I know that that's embarrassing to think, oh, I could have wanted that person. I could have wanted that job so badly. I could have wanted that career, wanted to be at that school, wanted to be moving to that town. And then a year later, you're like, oh my God, what the hell was I thinking? It's a little bit embarrassing. It is. And there's a very human desire to want to be right. To go like, oh my God, like, I spent all those years crying over something, and now that I'm healed, I'm like, oh, dummy, like, what were you thinking? But also understand that the healed version of you is not going to be looking back on you and judging you. The healed version of you is going to understand why you felt that way and know that now I know what I know now that I didn't know then, and I forgive past me for not understanding this. I see why you wanted it in the past. You didn't know. Past me still wants it. Future me, current me, healed me gets it. I feel like a lot of the times we make it about the thing. We make it about, oh, I want that person, I want that job. But what we're really scared of is we don't want the future version of ourselves be looking back on where we are now and be ashamed of us. And that's not going to happen. Because if you're healed people don't look back on themselves with shame. The healed version of you is not going to judge you for the decisions that you're making right now. They're going to have the foresight. They're wiser than you. They're smarter, kinder, wiser, more patient, more loving, more giving. All of those things. They're going to look back on you and understand exactly where you are and how you were doing the best with what you could do. That's all that is. And maybe you just need that uncovered. That it's not about your ego. It's not about people thinking that you're dumb. And you know this. It's not about, oh, I don't want to be saying one thing and then go back on it. I don't want to be stupid. I don't want people to think that I don't know what I'm talking about. I thought that was the most important thing to me. And now I'm not right. That's not what you're scared of. You don't want future you to hate current you. And you won't. You won't. Do you hate past you? Really, do you? Do you hate past you? Do you look back on the versions of you that had idiot boyfriends? And you could joke on the surface and go, what was I thinking? Why did I want that? You could joke about it, but do you really hate that version of you? Do you really look back and go, oh my God, what were you thinking? More often we think you deserve better. I'm glad you learned that you deserve better. Proud of you that you did the work and you learned that wasn't for you. Glad you survived, right? We're good. You're good. But again, you're human. So I'm saying this, and as you're going through it, you're going to feel the shame. because I don't want to tell you, because I'm going to tell you this stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't be anxious. You're not going to judge yourself, and the live is going to end. You're going to feel good for a little while, and then maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, you're going to start judging yourself again. Just know that that's normal too. Your own hair has grown a lot. Thank you. I almost cut it the other day. I went through a weird phase where I thought I wanted to cut my hair. I don't know what came over me. I thought it was really cool when I first started growing it out. Was in love with it when I got the little curly cues. And then I had like 2 weeks where I was like, my hair's stupid. It's dumb. Why did I want a mullet? It's so dumb. And then, you know, being me, I flipped the other way and was like, oh, my hair's actually so cool. Don't look at it from the back, though. Somebody took a picture of the back of my head. My roommate, while I was opening my cards, my shipment of decks, they, like, took a picture of me, and you could see it from the side and back of my head. And I will admit, I did think about shaving my head again. But you know what we say here, the back of my head is other people's problem. That's why I don't want to know. That's what I don't want to, I shouldn't have looked. I was never meant to see the back of my head. You know what I mean? You gaze upon unearthly horrors from hell, and it changes you. I was not meant to see the back of my head, and I glimpsed into the doors of the abyss, and it changed me, and it scared me, and it shocked me. And it's going to take a couple days before I'm back to normal, because I was never meant to be looking at myself from those angles. And honestly, it's kind of fucked up that I was shown angles of myself like that. It feels like, you know, you got a really anxious dog. You know, one of those dogs that, like, looks at the reflection of themselves and doesn't understand that it's them. They think it's another dog, and they get really distressed by it. Put a blanket over the mirror. Don't let the dog stress out. Don't show me pictures of the back of my head. It's my dog mirror. It just causes me pain. I'm not meant to see it. Also, thank you. I got really mad. That's what I was mad about, because I've been having a little bit of a self-esteem struggle. I get frustrated with myself. I swear I'm going to end the live after this. We're going to have a little chat. I get really frustrated with myself because I am vehemently myself, and I'm vehemently alternative in a way that I can't change. And I will put on wigs, and I will do normal person makeup. And I think that it's going to make me look prettier or feel prettier, and it doesn't make me feel prettier. It mostly just makes me feel uncomfortable. And then I go through these cycles sometimes where I put on the makeup that always makes me feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, no, if I do my makeup just like everybody else, I'll look like a baddie. I don't feel like a baddie. I get more compliments from other people, but I personally just feel uncomfortable, right? I'm working on accepting that the way that I have to feel beautiful is not the way most people see me as beautiful. You know, we've had this conversation a million times, right? But I got really frustrated with myself because I realized that if I'm gonna have long hair, it's gotta be like this weird mullet. It's this or the shaved head. They're like the only two hairstyles I feel comfortable in, and I was just frustrated with myself, like watching myself from the outside, like, this is what you like? That's what you want your hair to look like? Like, we can't be normal? And it does make me feel confident. It makes me feel baller, but I was frustrated that this is the hairstyle that makes me feel the most confident. I was, like, temporarily for, like, a couple weeks there, my own bully, and I was like, you can't just have a normal hairstyle, huh? You couldn't even just do one undercut. One undercut. Can we put some grease in your hair? Something? Can you use Cantu like a normal person? Do a twist out? No, we have the wash and go. I was like looking at myself, I was like, you know, people can tell you went to boarding school. I mean, to private school. They can tell. You know, black people look at you, they can tell that you spend a lot of time around white people. You like your hair like that? Really? I don't know why I was doing that. I have no idea. But I felt like I was outside of my body, like offering myself other hairstyles and being like, really? That's the only one? You don't want to try this? Can we, you know, just do a little peekaboo? Like a normal? Can we take the shaved sides like down to here and grow the rest out? No? It has to be that high? And you don't want to comb it. You don't want to comb it in the morning. No? No color? No? Really? And you like it like that? But like to myself. I don't know why I was doing that. Okay, last bit of advice. It's a conversation I have with myself a lot. And I think the root of it is that I have very good taste, but what I like and what feels good on me are not often the same exact thing. So I think people look at me sometimes, and I'm very alternative, and I think people look at me and they think you look like that because you don't know how to look any better. Like, people feel the need to tell me how to put my makeup on correctly. Well, if you did this, you know, you don't have to smudge your eyeliner. You could just use this. You know, you could probably work a lip. You know, You could dress like this. Trust me and believe me, if I wanted to roll up like a baddie, I could. There's nothing stopping me. I have a 4-pack. You know what I mean? I have the Sylvette model body. I could be Zendaya if I wanted to. It's not that I don't know how. I can do better makeup than I'm doing. I could do a solid base. I can. I could do the contour. I've done all of that. Occasionally, if you hang around on my channel enough, you'll see on the occasional day, I will do makeup like I know how to do makeup. I did it a couple videos ago. Full face. I'm so capable. I just don't want to. And and I think that's the place people come from, is they're like, surely you look like that because you don't know how to do any better. You don't know how to dress any better. You know, if you just did this, I know how to do those things. I get it. Trust me when I say I just like to look like this. I know I could put concealer on properly. Would you believe me if I said I don't feel good in it? I know how to do it. I know how to apply lashes. I don't like them. I know that if I put on lashes, more guys would want to date me. I do. I won't. That doesn't mean I don't know how to put them on. I know how to do a cut crease. I'm not going to. You don't have to make me over. I will take it all off. Maybe that's the Virgo in me that I just don't, that really irritates me, that people are like, do you need help? And I'm like, yes, but not that kind. Possibly if I was on, I have a feeling that I would be one of those people where if I got on antidepressants, I would probably take a lot of the metal out of my face. I would probably laser remove a couple of tattoos. I think 2 years on antidepressants and I would start wearing beige cat suits. And like matching like hoodie and sweatpant combos. I think I would. But I'm not on antidepressants, so I don't. And I that's the version of me that you're getting. I probably would. I get lash extensions and everything. I might even be a woman. I have a sneaking suspicion that I'm mentally ill. I secretly think that I might be in the category of like, if you took a little bit of Zoloft, I'd probably be a cis person. I'd wake up and be like, oh no, it wasn't. It's not gender for me. I just hate society. But I'm not going to take Zoloft, so what does it matter? Yeah, thank you, Moldy. Virgo Sun, Leo Moon, Scorpio Rising, Libra Venus, Scorpio Mars, and that's all I know off the top of my head. I think I have a really cool and sexy chart. I like it a lot. I think that it's cool. I think I have the best placements. I think everybody wants to date me and they don't know why, and then I give them my placements, they're like, that's why. And if you're wondering, are you as nice, cool, funny, and talented as you seem on lives? Yes. I am that cool. Yeah, I can't pull up my birth chart because I'm lazy and I gotta go in a second. But I can give you my date and time. Let me see if I can remember it off the top of my head. Let me know when you got a pen ready. Let me know. No, I can't talk about zodiacs. The last time I said literally anything about my opinions on zodiac signs, I got banned for making a joke. Okay, my birthday is September 20th, 1995. Matching Big 3 is really cool. September 20th, 1995. I was born in Washington, D.C. And my birth time is 11:50 a.m. I know. We were having a lot of fun. But the water signs cannot handle what I have to say about them. They can't handle it, right? And let me be vague because I got in trouble. Let us just say that in a twist of comedic, divine comedy, the thing that I most often have to say about water signs is that they can't handle anything anybody has to say about them. So I find it funny that saying that usually gets me mass reported by the water signs, proving me correct in a way that directly takes away my main mode of finance and my platform. So that's all. That's as vague as I'm gonna be because I have a lot to say. But the last time I said it, they got mad too. There was also the time that I said, let me be vague. Somebody asked me the difference between men of two different signs. No, I'll be quiet. Because I think I can get a... Listen, I was asked... How do I word this without getting in trouble? It's really not that bad, but I did get a violation for it last time. People wanted specifics, and I said that a certain gender identity that I think we could all guess does not have definable enough personalities between individuals for me to specify any further than I had already specified. And then I got a violation for that too. Apparently it was sexist. I was joking. Just so we're clear, I love men. I actually think they're so cool. I just thought it was funny. The parasite in me wanted to say it, so I said it, and I paid for it immediately. It was a good joke, though. It was a really good joke. For like 2 minutes, until my screen went black. I really was joking. It was a jest. I thought we were all friends. Like, it was very clearly in the category of, like, I clearly don't think that. Like, obviously everybody's an individual and we're all unique. I thought it was funny to say. Man that wrote BBL Drizzy. Yeah. The one that did the original song, or are you talking about Metro? We're done. Okay, no, I'm leaving. I'll put the decks away and then we're gone. See, that's why the moth was telling me to get off, so that, because you see where we were about to go. It's truly a parasite, and once I start, I don't know what it is, because it's really a parasite, because I sit on live and I will be toe touching the things that I've gotten in trouble for before, and it's like my shoulder demon is like, what's the chance it's gonna happen twice? You know what I mean? And you guys are in the chat like, don't say it, don't do it, you already got in trouble for it. And I'm like, yeah, but I already got in trouble for it. Like, I tiptoe ever closer to the abyss, and I'm standing on the edge of it, and I convince myself to take another step every time. I don't know what's wrong with me. Why do I tempt fate? Why do I do that? And I know it's going to get me in trouble. I know you guys are sick of it, because you guys go, don't. And I go, I got it. And then I don't got it. And then my account gets banned, and then I cry. As if I didn't do it to myself and know that it was going to happen. I don't know why you guys put up with it. Because every single time I've gotten my account taken away, it's been my fault. I want you to know that the screen goes black, and I sit there and I think, you know what, I knew better than that. I always, before I say it, I have the thought that this is going to get you in trouble and you shouldn't say that, and then I say it anyways. What diagnosis is that? Why do I do that? It's like the compulsive need to be a funny guy. Do you know what I mean? Would you ever stream on Twitch? Probably not, because you guys are nice and you guys are cool. I don't know if you know this. I'm a very bullyable person. I'm very bullyable. The general public does not like me. I don't think that I could get a grip on a Twitch chat long enough to not get hazed off of the app. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'd have to ban so many words. I think you guys could move to Twitch with me, but I think if any, like, the average person scrolling through Twitch who isn't already part of my audience that came across it would hate me and, like, attempt to ruin my life and, like, dox me. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that they're gonna like me. And they really don't like that I'm not bullyable. Because I think sometimes people come on this app and they want me. It doesn't happen very often because Moldy is the best mod ever. But in the beginning, I think what would happen is that people would, like, be mean to me in the chat. And then I don't care because I've had a lot of therapy and I don't really care what random strangers need. But people bully because they want attention. So then when they weren't getting an emotional reaction from me, when I wasn't breaking down because I didn't care about whatever they just insulted me on, then they would just resort to reporting my account. And that I don't have time for. You know what I mean? Okay. Oh, I'm hungry. Wow, I probably should have gotten something to eat. I have a brownie. It's fine. And a pickle. Oh my god, I'm going to get in the bed. I'm going to get in the bathtub. I'm going to have a pickle. And then I'm going to get in bed and have a brownie. And then I think I have half a taquito. And a Red Bull. And then I'll take a nap. Okay, all the things. Okay, so this is my oracle deck. I am making it. It is printed now. We are getting ready to sell it. If you are interested in any of those updates about those things, or you're interested in my art, Instagram's your boy, right? You could also follow me here if you want. I'll tell you about it eventually, right? And speaking of getting banned, it does happen. I'm gonna sell as many as you guys want to. I have a stock of 159. This is number 160. I have 159. And I will be selling them with the intention of when they run out, I'll just get more, right? On the subject of me getting banned a lot, right? If you are concerned about me getting banned and you're like, what if that happens? What do I do? I would recommend you finding Instagram or any of those other things. Instagram is usually the one that people go to. Go in my link tree and find literally any other one of those and follow me on it. If I do get banned, I just post on all of them, like what the new account is, right? It hasn't happened for a while, but just know that every time it does happen, like at least 200 people are like, I didn't think you were going to get banned. I lost you for 6 months. I just found you. I'm following you on everything. Just know if you're going to be butthurt, right? I primarily do tarot, right? If you like this energy, I do not give this energy on my TikToks, right? We're a lot more organized on TikTok. I'm a tarot reader by design, and my tarot readers are really, really good. They're really good. But this vibe is something we only get on live. I go live sparingly, and it's going to be even more sparingly until I get my deck on its feet, because I'm been spending 3 years on this, and I cannot handle starting my account over, like right when I have an audience, right? I do lots of collectives. All my readings are collective that I do on TikTok. If you want a personal, you can go to Cameo. I do, for $15, I do about 10 minutes, the minimum, on Cameo. If you buy a reading on Cameo, it's 10 minutes for $15. I often go over those 10 minutes. It's not guaranteed, but I do. So you can pay $15 and get like an 18-minute reading if I'm really feeling your vibe. We have fun over there. It's cool. I keep them affordable. I don't think they're ever going any lower than $15, but they're a steal. I'm a very good tarot reader. I'm not scared to like say that. See, there you go. We have fun. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Oh yeah, if you've gotten to this live halfway through, or you're coming in at the end and you missed it, I do have a YouTube channel. I don't put anything on YouTube. If you want to dig deep, I have like old readings, like long collectives that I've put on there, from like years ago. They're still up if you want them, but the only thing I use my YouTube for at this point is that like tomorrow or the day after, I'm going to rip this entire file and just post it in its entirety on YouTube. So if you missed the live, it'll be on YouTube in a little while. Because I play music in the background, it sometimes gets like a violation or two, but it's usually in Russia. So if you're Russian, sorry. It's usually Russia and like maybe Australia sometimes that I get a certain violation for a certain song. It never takes the video down in the US. So there's that. You can check that out. I don't really do anything but post on TikTok. I promise you I'm not in some grand scheme to like move you to my Instagram so I can make you look at my outfits. I'm really bad at running a business. I'm not going to sell you a product. You'll probably get a couple pictures of my dog and then like works in progress of my art that I'm very vague about. That's the worst that's going to happen. We have fun here. We're cool. That's all. Okay, I'm gonna go. This was fun. I'll try and do it more often. I probably should, because I actually have a product to sell now. But I'm trying not to be weird about it. I actually do plan on using these cards all the time. The written version of them without the pictures I use all the time. That's all. This is really awkward. I don't know how to like end this. I feel weird. It was fun. I missed you guys. Love you. See, I forgot when I pressed the end button, it doesn't end it immediately. So now I'm left with this awkward space after I made this noise. Ignore it.